Chapter 240. When faced with a ruthless person who could attack for half a day, no one would not panic. Nan Wuyang and the rest were panicking. How did this guy train? How strong was the astral power in his body? Even if it was them, they would feel a little weak after hacking for 3 hours. However, after half a day, Jiang Chongkong was still energetic and full of astral power. Another 2 hours passed and the cracks widened again. Jiang Chongkong was still attacking. The people inside the shield felt like they were going crazy. Craters that were thousands of meters deep appeared on the ground around them. As for them, it was as if they were in a deep pit on a pillar. The pillar was also sinking. The high-level shield could protect the ground, but it was too deep and could not protect them. Jiang Chongkong was like a mecha that would never get tired. He attacked again and again. Another 3 hours passed and the cracks covered 2/3 of the shield. Jiang Chongkong was still in high spirits. In fact, he even seemed a little excited. Jiang Chongkong, let's stop. Let's pretend nothing happened. A martial artist said in fear. If this continued, Jiang Chongkong might break the shield first. Let's stop. We'll go our separate ways in the future. A prodigy couldn't take it anymore. Jin Chen was silent. At this time, it was useless to say anything else. If Jiang Chongkong could still hold on, then they were dead. As for whether he could hold on or not, he couldn't guarantee it and he didn't dare to bet. No one was willing to bet with him. Stop? Wash your neck and wait for your death. Jiang Chongkong sneered and sent out another blade light. Since you guys started it, don't blame me for being rude. If you want to kill me, then I'll send all of you to hell. Professor Yuan had said that if he wanted to do it, he had to do it thoroughly and not leave any loose ends. He couldn't kill all the prodigies in the Sin realm, but he would not let these people who provoked him go. The star stones of these people were enough for him to master 2 more martial arts. He was about to succeed, so how could he give up? Nan Wuyang and the rest watched from afar and didn't intervene. They were not kind people, and they were friends with Jiang Chongkong. Why would they help Jin Chen? The saber light descended once more, and a piercing kacha sound rang out. It was like a demonic sound, driving the cultivators inside crazy. Some of the weaker ones screamed out loud. Another 2 hours passed and the sun in the sky was replaced by the moon. The cracks were almost all over the shield. Jiang Chongkong was a little delighted. The barrier was cracking faster the further it went. Just like a porcelain bowl, as the cracks increased, it would become weaker and weaker. Jiang Chongkong, I'm willing to hand over the Sin Order and the Star Stones. Let me go. I'm willing to. This is Jin Chen's idea. It has nothing to do with us. We were forced. You bastards, we agreed to advance and retreat together, but now you're going back on your word? Jin Chen's expression was ferocious as he roared. The shield hasn't shattered yet. Even if it did, it's been a day. How much strength does he have left? Jiang Chongkong won't let us go. If the shield breaks, we'll fight him to the death, the 3 prodigies said in a deep voice. Boom. As soon as they finished speaking, cracks filled the entire shield, and the blade of the setting sun fell. High-level shield broken. It really broke. This lunatic, Nan Wuyang said in horror. One day, one whole day, Ji Qingyue and the others exclaimed. Jiang Chongkong shouldn't have come. The other prodigies also came. When they saw this scene, their faces were so gloomy that it could drip water. How was this a prodigy? He was clearly a monster, a monster. Why did they let him in? They should have boycotted Jiang Chongkong. Kill, he has already fought for a whole day. If we fight to the death, we can still live. Jin Chen roared and took the lead to unleash his star power. Blazing sun. Jiang Chongkong flicked his finger, and a blazing sun hung in the sky, releasing a boundless blade ray. The blade ray was like the sun, falling down. It engulfed the entire place. Jiang Chongkong swooped down from the sky and the sword of the setting sun slashed across Jin Chen's throat. Jin Chen looked at him in disbelief. He clutched his throat and blood spurted out. How is this possible? Jiang Chongkong still has such strength after fighting for a whole day? I told you, you'll be the first to die. Jiang Chongkong sneered and turned to the other three prodigies. Don't come near me. The three prodigies were terrified. They quickly backed off and couldn't hide the panic on their faces. How did you bring in a high-level shield? Jiang Chongkong looked at the three and asked calmly. No, I don't know. That's Jin Chen's. You've already killed him. Since you don't know, then you're useless. Jiang Chongkong sighed and his body turned into a golden ray of light. The sword of the setting sun slashed across the throats of the three. I know. Don't kill me, don't kill me. A martial artist hurriedly cried out. You know? Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and the falling blade light dissipated. The martial artist said fearfully, actually, it wasn't Jin Chen who brought it in. Someone gave it to him. Someone gave it to him? Jiang Chongkong frowned. Someone from the Sin domain? Yes, someone from the Sin domain. I don't know who exactly it is. They gave him the shield. Their goal is to kill you and all the prodigies. What? Nan Wuyang and the rest stood up. Although they were far away, they were all peak star spirits and could clearly hear this person's words. Jiang Chongkong took the person's spatial equipment and threw it to Nan Wuyang. I'll leave this person to you. The blade light engulfed everything. No one else knew what had happened. They were all fighting for their lives. Unfortunately, they couldn't even block the descending blade light. Star power engulfed everything. The voices gradually quieted down, and everything dissipated. Only the equipment remained. Jiang Chongkong had collected their spatial equipment. Although they didn't reap much, some of them still had some gains. Jin Chen had 3 Sin badges in his hands. A total of 110 people, 125 Sin badges, and 11 million star stones. Other than that, there were also some clothes, medicines, and a large number of 6th-level weapons. Jiang Chongkong soared through the air and came to Nan Wuyang's side. He handed the sword to him. Thank you for your weapon. I'll give you 10 Sin badges. The weapon had amplified his strength. At his level of strength, even a slight amplification would be of great help to him. These 10 Sin badges could be considered as a form of care for the Nan family. I've asked clearly. Jin Chen has seen the people from the Sin domain before, and has made a deal with them. Nan Wuyang accepted the Sin badges and said, I'll leave this matter to you. I'll take my leave first. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Chongkong, wait. Nan Wuyang immediately called out to him. What's the matter? Jiang Chongkong stopped in his tracks. It's like this, the Sin domain has already changed. I don't know where they are hiding or how dangerous it is. I feel that it's safer to stay together. Nan Wuyang said. They had already activated their high-level protective barriers. If they didn't stay with Jiang Chongkong, they wouldn't feel safe? Tomorrow, I'll find you guys, and we'll break through the Sin domain together. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Everyone was startled. Break through the Sin domain? A group of rats hiding in a hole. Without breaking through the hole, they are not willing to come out. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. My patience has run out. I don't want to play anymore. Everyone. You don't want to play anymore, but we still want to. Break through the Sin domain. Do you know how big of a project that is? Chapter 241. Jiang Chongkong bade farewell to Nan Wuyang and the others and went to find Su Hengji and the others. Are you hurt? Jiang Chongkong floated in the air and asked indifferently. No, Cheng Kaisheng is very powerful. With the amulet you gave us, how could those people hurt us? The 7 of them hurried to flatter him. They were telling the truth. That was a high-level shield, and it had been broken by this guy. Although it took him a day to break it, it also proved that this guy had the strength to challenge an early-stage star embryo. In the Sin realm, where the highest level of astral spirit was, they felt that Jiang Chongkong was there to bully them. Well, you go back to the beach and rest. I have something to do. Yes. The 7 of them left respectfully. Jiang Chongkong found a place and sat down. This time, he used the Yuling art and blazing sun art. Tomorrow, he could use the star stones of the Cyan Wind Overlord to exchange for the star stones of Nan Wuyang and the others. Even Su Hengji, who was the worst, had tens of thousands of low-grade 6th-grade star stones. Even if he didn't find all of the 100 people he had killed, it should be enough for him to trade. The Yuling art and blazing sun art were perfected. The star power in Jiang Chongkong's body surged again. The stargate condensed and the star power in his body and his soul continued to merge. The sand and stones around him were restrained in the air by the invisible star power. A blazing sun slowly rose, its surroundings burning with golden flames. Diamond stomping fire, diamond unbreakable, blazing sun art. These 2 martial arts had reached the same level. Jiang Chongkong. Astral Spirit Peak Upper Middle Rank Martial Art. Diamond Unbreakable Divine Art. Perfected. 5625000/5625000 Tai Chi Mysterious Art. Perfected. 5625000/5625000 3 Strikes of Grace. Perfected. 1/5625000 Blazing Sun Art. Perfected. 5625000/5625000 Yuling Art. Perfected. 5625000/5625000 Cold Moon Art. Perfected. 1/5625000 9 Skies and 9 Clouds Art. Perfected. 5625000/5625000 Essence, Energy, Spirit. 1761559 inch. With my current strength, I definitely won't need more than a day to deal with a high-grade protective shield. Feeling the increase in strength, Jiang Chongkong's heart surged. This Sin domain is mine. With his peak star spirit realm strength, he was comparable to an early-stage star embryo realm cultivator. Once he stepped into the star embryo realm, he wouldn't dare to say that he was invincible within the star embryo realm. At the very least, he would be able to continue killing those who were stronger than him. Previously, he did not have a good understanding of the major factions. He thought that all of them were terrifying and that they could casually send out high-level martial artists. Now that he understood, he didn't care too much. They were all star embryos. There weren't many star embryos, and they were extremely busy. The stellar martial artists were either exploring the wasteland or exploring the starry sky. Of course, there were also those who were in seclusion. Under such circumstances, as long as he didn't act like a crab and go against everyone, he didn't need to care too much. After stabilizing his cultivation, Jiang Chongkong went to look for the 7 old men. A stone tablet fragment appeared in his hand. This was the stone tablet with the star text engraved on it from before. Now that it was broken, he did not take it out to deal with the high-level protective barrier. Furthermore, to be able to break it with his own strength, it could also prove his own strength. The Sin Domain's barrier was definitely a star body or even above. The stone tablet's ability to devour star power had no effect on it. This is considered a good material. When I hand it over to Professor Yun, who knows, he might be able to create a good little toy out of it. Jiang Chongkong kept the stone tablet fragment. He believed that Professor Yun would like the material. Returning to the beach, Jiang Chongkong's 3-colored stone pearl started to vibrate again. He did not care about it this time. He would flip the entire Sin domain tomorrow. Unless this thing ran out of the Sin domain, he would definitely be able to find it. Chiang Kai-sheng, Su Hengji and the rest immediately stood up and welcomed him. Jiang Chongkong nodded his head and asked, "How's the search for star stones in the past 3 days?" "I've already found 68 of them, they're all here." Su Hengji took off his spatial equipment and passed it to him. "But half of them are missing." "Missing half?" Jiang Chongkong frowned. "What happened?" Su Hengji said. "The equipment did not record it, it should have been taken away by someone else." Furthermore, all of them are missing by half. Chiang Kai-sheng, do you think they took it away and offered it to the overlords, asking for their protection? An old man said. Jiang Chongkong pondered for a while, and guessed the whereabouts of the star stones. It could have been offered to the Immortal Palace. The Immortal Palace was not a group of good people. Why would they let go of the star stones? He did not know what they were doing now, but when he broke through the Sin domain, everything would become clear. These star stones, how many are there in total? Are there 400,000 pieces of lower-grade 6th-level stones? Jiang Chongkong checked the spatial equipment, looked at the mountain of star stones inside and asked. Definitely, also, we have also put in our star stones. We did not count the exact number, but there are definitely more than 500,000 pieces of lower-grade 6th-level stones. Su Hengji and the rest said with certainty. They had found 68 of them. Even if half were missing, there were still tens of thousands of lower-grade 6th-level stones. They, who were miserable, had at least 10,000 lower-grade 6th-level stones, not to mention those who were doing well. Some were even trusted aides of the Cyan Wind Overlord. Jiang Chongkong kept the spatial equipment with satisfaction. You guys take these rings. Tomorrow I plan to break through the Sin domain, and when the star stones appear, you guys help me keep them. Yes. Wait, break through the Sin domain? Su Hengji and the rest were confused. What did you just say? We did not hear it clearly. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. Yes, a group of people are holed up underground. I plan to shave the heads of the island. The 7 of them. Are you planning to sink the Sin domain? Once you do that, the seawater will pour in and drown everything. At that time, you guys can just leave. Where are we going to stay? They felt that Jiang Chongkong had gone crazy, but they did not dare to refute, afraid that Jiang Chongkong would kill them. Jiang Chongkong's expression was calm. This trip to the Sin domain, there were already changes, and they could only do this. Furthermore, if they were to find a spatial tunnel, he could bring them away. Why would they stay in the Sin domain? Thinking about that, Jiang Chongkong smiled. Su Hengji was initially framed by someone and thus came in. What about the 6 of you? We fought for treasures and accidentally killed someone. One of them said. What else can it be? We were ignorant at that time and followed others to do some robberies. The 6 of them spoke one after another, and the last one stuttered. I'm fine, I was just muddle-headed at that time, and made a small mistake. Small mistake? Jiang Chongkong raised his head and looked at him, and said expressionlessly, Speak the truth. Old Liang, if not for Chiang Kai-sheng asking, we truly do not know how you came in. The other 6 said. Old Liang was a little hesitant, obviously unwilling to say it. Really just a small mistake. Fine, if you don't want to say it, then don't say it. I won't force you, you can leave tomorrow. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Don't, Chiang Kai-sheng, I'll say it all right? Old Liang panicked. If he really left him, with the current situation in the Sin domain, he would not be able to live for a day. Su Hengji and the other 5 urged. Old Liang took a deep breath and said with fear, I killed my own commander. What? You killed your own commander? The 6 of them were stunned. The commander of a large province? Old Liang said slowly, The Void Realm. Jiang Chongkong's eyes narrowed. The Void Realm? To be able to become a commander, you should be a high-level martial artist, right? In a place like the Void Realm, those below the high level could only be considered cannon fodder. Old Liang's strength was considered passable, but he was only a decent cannon fodder, and could not kill a high-level martial artist. Old Liang held his head with both hands, his white hair in a mess. I don't even know what happened. When I went there, I lost my mind, and everyone went crazy. When I woke up, I was holding a broken sword with the power of the lunar star, stabbing my commander's body. At that time, I did not know what was going on, and then I ran. We had a recording device with us at that time. On the device, there were a total of 17 people, and they were all killed by me. including the early-stage star embryo commander. From what you said, why does it sound so fantastical? The six shook their heads. Lunar broken sword? What about the broken sword? Chapter 242. Jiang Chongkong only had one sword tip on the Tying broken sword. But this sword tip was terrifying enough. High-grade materials were as fragile as tofu in front of the sword tip. If it was really a part of the sword, not to mention an early-stage star embryo, even a peak-stage star embryo's defense could be easily torn apart. Old Liang shook his head. After that, I said that there was something wrong with that place. The Federation was suspicious too. An astral body martial artist brought me there. After that, what happened after that? Tell me, Su Hengji said anxiously. Jiang Chongkong was anxious too. He paid attention to old Liang's changes. He could feel that this fellow was terrified. Old Liang released his hands from his head. His eyes were bloodshot as he panted. After that, he took the broken sword and committed suicide. Committed suicide? Su Hengji and the rest were shocked. Impossible. An astral body martial artist committed suicide? They felt that old Liang was joking. An astral body martial artist committed suicide just because he took the broken sword? Old Liang took a deep breath and exhaled. I still remember what that astral body martial artist said after he died. What? The six of them asked curiously. Jiang Chongkong was curious too. What could make an astral body martial artist commit suicide? Lumberjack, Jade Toad. Old Liang calmed down and shook his head. After that, the broken sword disappeared. All the corpses disappeared. Lumberjack? Jade Toad? Jiang Chongkong was stunned. Wasn't this the memory that he had obtained? Could it be that the place that old Liang and the rest went to was the palace in the Tying Star? Did my broken sword come out from that palace? What nonsense is this? The six of them mumbled. They had no idea what they were talking about. Jiang Chongkong pondered. Do you still remember the route there? I remember. But everything disappeared, including the entrance. The Federation sent people there, but they couldn't find anything. I was also thrown into the Sin domain. After all, I killed the commander with my own hand. Old Liang collapsed and wiped his face. Chiang Kai-sheng, I advise you not to be interested in that damned place. You just need to tell me the route. I might not necessarily go, Jiang Chongkong said lightly. Old Liang sat up and stared at him. Chiang Kai-sheng, I'm indebted to you for the past few days. If I tell you, I'll be harming you. You only need to tell me, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. Seeing Zhang Xian's insistence, old Liang could only tell him the route to that place. When Jiang Chongkong received the news, he wrote it down and saved it in his phone. Chiang Kai-sheng, Su Hengji wanted to persuade him again, but Jiang Chongkong raised his hand and said, You must be tired. Rest early, we still have things to do tomorrow. All right. Su Hengji sighed lightly and didn't say anything else. He couldn't change Jiang Chongkong's mind. He could only pray that Jiang Chongkong wouldn't go. Right now, Jiang Chongkong was the Su family's backer. He didn't want this backer to fall. Jiang Chongkong sat cross-legged and thought about when he should go. But he had to learn more about star literature before going. Although there was Professor Yun, but how could it be as convenient as him? What if he was able to block the signal when he arrived? For the broken sword, he had to make the trip. If he was able to assemble the broken sword and repair it, would it be able to reach the peak grade? In the future, he would find a chance to use a star martial artist to test the sharpness of the sword tip. If the sword tip was able to easily tear through a star martial artist's defense, it would definitely be a peak grade weapon. Thinking about it, Jiang Chongkong fell asleep. The next morning, Jiang Chongkong was woken up by Su Hengji. Chiang Kai-sheng, the sky is already bright. You said you had things to do, so I woke you up. Su Hengji said respectfully. Why are all of you up so early? Jiang Chongkong looked at the time, it was only 5:30. The sky had just brightened and the other 6 had woken up. I'm used to it, I don't dare to sleep in the Sin domain, there are many people who take advantage of me. Su Hengji explained. Jiang Changkong stood up. Let's go, we will go to the city of Sin and meet the heaven's favorites. Activating the art of Yuling, Jiang Changkong flew into the sky with the 7 of them and headed towards the Sin domain. With the increase in his power, Jiang Changkong's speed increased, and in a few breaths, he arrived above the Sin domain. Nan Wu Yang and the others woke up as well, and the heaven's favorites gathered together. Descending, Jiang Changkong said calmly, "Everyone, you sure woke up early. It seems like you are all impatient." "Who the hell is impatient? If we weren't afraid of your power, who would have gathered together to wait?" The group of people rolled their eyes, cursing in their hearts, but dared not show it. Nan Wu Yang cupped his hands. "Changkong, tell me, what should we do? How are we going to split the rewards? What are you all thinking?" Jiang Changkong said calmly. "We had a discussion last night. We cannot return empty-handed from this trip to the Sin domain. Now we have 2 suggestions. If you don't agree, we can discuss." Nan Wu Yang said. "Tell me about it," Jiang Changkong said expressionlessly. He didn't know what these heaven's favorites wanted to play, so he decided to wait and see. If it's the same as when we fought over the mines in the Yinding province, then sorry, you will all be buried here. The first suggestion is that the first place belongs to you, so don't fight with us. We will gather some star stones and give it to you. The second suggestion is that after we find the culprit, it belongs to whoever finds it first. We cannot fight over it. When Nan Wu Yang finished speaking, the heaven's favorites looked at him carefully, afraid that he would get angry. In other words, if I choose the first suggestion, then I will just sit back and collect the star stones and the Order of Sin? Jiang Changkong thought about it. This suggestion wasn't bad, and the people were polite. This was completely different from the Yinding province, where heaven's favorites were heaven's favorites, and their words were so nice. "Yes, you agree?" Nan Wu Yang and the others were overjoyed. "I don't agree." Jiang Changkong shook his head. "How many star stones can you gather for me? Let's go with the second suggestion. It belongs to whoever finds it first." "All right, the second one," Jiang Changkong smiled faintly. "Wait, I haven't finished yet. I have another condition." "What condition?" Everyone frowned. "My condition is to exchange for star stones. The ones we snatched are all unprocessed star stones. I want processed ones." Jiang Changkong took out a 6th-level low-grade star stone. "1 for 1. It's fair and just. No problem, right?" "No problem," the heaven's favorite said without hesitation. "If you don't agree, does that mean you won't agree to our suggestion? If you rob us all, we won't even have the chance to exchange for star stones. These 7 people are my people. I believe you all know that when we move together, don't accidentally injure them," Jiang Changkong said. "We won't." Nan Wu Yang and the others hurriedly promised. "Yesterday, Jin Chun and the others attacked these 7 people. You killed 110 people. Who the hell would touch them? Then line up and exchange for star stones." Jiang Changkong took off his spatial ring and handed it to the 7 people. They could handle the star stone exchange. He rested at the side. "Chang Kaisheng, you won't go back on your word, right?" One of the heaven's favorites couldn't help but ask. "You can ask Jian Shuiyu. As long as I'm not an enemy, have I ever failed to fulfill my promises?" Jiang Changkong said. Jian Shuiyu nodded. "Miser, you have no problem with your character. It's just that you love money too much." "A gentleman loves money, but he obtains it in a proper way. I didn't rob you for no reason," Jiang Changkong said faintly. Jian Shuiyu said disdainfully, "You are not a gentleman at all." Jiang Changkong couldn't help but flick her forehead. "Little girl, you are slandering my image." "What about the Star Demon area?" Nan Wu Yang asked. Chapter 243. Jiang Changkong said, "That's simple. Just push through. As for how to push, start from the sea. You should have earth and water elemental cultivators. Then, pile up the soil and form a barrier to stop the seawater from entering. Once the seawater enters, it will drown the entire Sin realm. Though Jiang Chongkong didn't really care, he still needed to expend some energy in the sea to stop the seawater. For water elemental cultivators, it would increase their strength. There were many water elemental cultivators in the Sin realm. He wasn't sure about the Immortal Palace, but to Nan Wu Yang and the others, it wasn't a good thing. It would be difficult for them to move around and there might be many casualties. It was better to avoid it. Jiang Chongkong continued. Also, there are a few star stones that belong to me. I've already found them. Of course. But, Chiang Kai-sheng hasn't taken all of them yet? Nan Wu Yang asked. Nope. Those people are too good at hiding. Maybe there are star stones under the city of Sin. Jiang Chongkong said, You guys should be careful too. Don't break the star stones. We've done some research before. I didn't think they would be so good at hiding. Nan Wu Yang smiled. If that was the case, then they would have to be careful when they push. If that's the case, Chiang Kai-sheng will have to suppress his abilities. Qin Yu walked over, his expression cold. But if we do that, our movements will slow down. Plus, we don't know how deep we have to push and when we can find them. Dressed in red, Yao Chan asked the question in her mind. How about this, let's set it at 3,000 meters. Let's push for 3 days. Jiang Chongkong said. 3,000 meters? The heavens' favorites were stunned. You really want to sink the Sin realm? Jiang Chongkong knocked on the stone table. How deep does the barrier of the Sin realm go? 10,000 meters. Qin Yu said. 3,000 meters. No matter how good they are at hiding, they can't go below 3,000 meters. If we really can't find them, then after 3 days I will go all out and push 10,000 meters. Jiang Chongkong said. Everyone, how much hatred do you have with the Sin domain? Why do we feel that you are not here to find criminals, but to pacify the Sin domain? It took them half a day to exchange for star stones. As for the discussion, it was Jiang Chongkong who was speaking, and the prodigies were listening. No matter how Jiang Chongkong wanted to push, no one had any objections. After the discussion was over, Jiang Chongkong took the star stones and left first. He said that he had something to do, and asked them to postpone it for now. When he came in, a few people had met with mishaps. Including the people he killed, there were 389 people left. It was exchanged for 389,000 pieces of lower-grade 6th-tier star stones. 38. 9 million essence, chi, and spirit. Now, he could step into the advanced level. Although the Sin domain's barrier was powerful, but it would not restrict one from breaking through to a high level. After all, what if the heavens' favorites that entered were lucky and broke through? Only the people of Sin domain would have restrictions placed on their bodies, and thus be unable to break through. He arrived at the Star Demon's territory. With the Star Demon's protection, there shouldn't be any accidents. He first maxed out the graceful 3 blades and the cold moon technique. Completely perfected, Jiang Chongkong started to improve. He wondered what would happen when he stepped into the advanced level of the 7 martial technique. Bang! Monstrous star power rushed into the sky, and a vast might erupted. The sun and the moon rose at the same time, hanging high in the sky. White clouds lingered, covering the entire area, making it impossible for people to see what was inside. The sun and the moon emitted boundless starlight, but fortunately, the white clouds covered them, preventing them from being exposed. But even so, the terrifying star power dispersed, the unbreakable Vajra, and the Tai Chi mysterious technique all released their might. The Tai Chi swallowed the yin and yang, and the 2 powers were in balance, forming a Tai Chi diagram. Roar! A strange roar resounded, like the roar of a dragon, and the roar of a tiger. A ferocious aura spread out, resounding throughout the entire Sin domain. Monstrous blood chi rushed into the sky, transforming into pure blood chi smoke, shaking the void. The void seemed to be unable to bear it, and cracks started to appear. What happened? The entire island trembled. Nan Wu Yang and the rest had just walked out of the Sin domain, when they realized that the ground was shaking. A terrifying power was emitted from the place where the star demon was rampaging, radiating out in all directions, covering the entire Sin domain. Earthquake? That doesn't make sense. The Sin domain has never experienced an earthquake before. A group of martial artists forcefully circulated their star power, stabilizing their state of mind. Roar. The strange roar sounded out again, and in the void 6 strange golden lights appeared. Look, what's that? A martial artist pointed to the sky. 6 dazzling golden objects hung in the sky, emitting a terrifying aura. Golden star power emitted out, and dense blood chi dispersed out. Are they snakes? They look more like dragons, but they have no claws. Everyone looked at the 6 snake-like and dragon-like objects in shock. They did not recognize them at all. They were completely golden, and at one end blood chi condensed, forming the shape of a dragon head, with blood-red eyes, releasing a strange roar. The golden light was dazzling, and the blood chi rumbled, as though they were ferocious beasts that crawled out of the primordial era. Beside them, the void cracked, as though they were unable to withstand it. High level, it's definitely a high-level creature. How can there be a high-level creature here? Screams of fear sounded out. Everyone panicked. Is the Sin domain crazy? Why are there high-level creatures here? Furthermore, there are 6 of them? Rumble, rumble, rumble. The island trembled even more intensely. The ground was cracking. The boundless star power spread out across the entire island and struck the barrier. But, although the power was powerful, it was unable to do anything to the island's barrier. The bottom of the island was similarly affected. The strange roar pierced through the ground and went deep underground. What's going on? Earthquake? And what's that sound? It's a high-level star demon. It's definitely a high-level star demon. In the underground space, mud and boulders fell. One after another martial artists screamed in fear. Quiet. A golden barrier appeared and spread out, protecting the martial artists. It's just a small movement, why are you panicking? A black-robed man said coldly. With the protection of the barrier and the appearance of the black-robed man, the martial artists seemed to have found their backbone and calmed down. The black-robed man turned and left and came to the 9 seated people. You guys have been in the Sin domain for so many years. Are there any high-level creatures in the Sin domain? No, the Sin domain does not have high-level creatures. The 9 of them shook their heads at the same time. What about high-level treasures? The black-robed man asked again. You're joking. If there were high-level treasures, we would have snatched them long ago. The Federation would have snatched them long ago. One of them sneered. The black-robed man's face beneath the black robes became gloomy. Seems like the Sin domain still has secrets that we do not know of. That roar just now, what was that? The 9 of them asked. I'm not sure either. It should have been released by a high-level creature, and furthermore, it used star power. The black-robed man said gloomily. The strange roar had completely destroyed his plans. How can a high-level creature appear in the Sin domain? Could it be that one of the heaven's favorites broke through? A lady asked. Chiemo Xian, that was the roar of a beast, not a human. The black-robed man shook his head and said, You guys rest first, I'll pay attention. The strange roar and boundless star power affected the entire island. And outside the island, Anshanha, who was supposed to pay attention to the situation in the Sin domain, had disappeared. Lin Qin, the high-level martial artist overseeing the Sin domain, was also nowhere to be found. Chapter 244. A loud roar shook the entire Sin domain. A portion of the star power dispersed in all directions. Luckily, it was only the gentle Tai Chi power. Yin and Yang had already been swallowed, and would not be exposed. After roaring, the 6 golden creatures shrank back to where they came from. They returned to the white clouds, back into Jiang Changkong's body. These were his 6 power tattoos. After stepping into the advanced level, the earth-shattering changes began. Among the 7 Stargate, the 6 power patterns returned and entered his body. The returning power patterns fused into every corner of his body, and he slowly stood up. The fleshly body opened its mouth and sucked all the star power into its mouth. He absorbed the endless star power and fused it with his body, forming a star embryo. This was the star embryo realm. The star power that entered his body entered every inch of his skin, refining his body, and the two quickly fused. Star power, blood chi, fused as one, and became one. Then, this power surged out of his body, rushed out of the Stargate, and flowed into his limbs. Crack! The sound of bones cracking was heard, and Jiang Changkong's skin split open, and golden blood flowed out. The golden bone fragments, along with the blood, rushed out of his body. Changing blood. Changing bones. The star power fused with every cell. This was the transformation of life, the sublimation of the essence. The 6 power patterns were like divine dragons, coiling around his body. A terrifying cold chi appeared on the left side of Jiang Changkong's body, and a golden sun appeared on the right side. The two extreme powers coexisted peacefully, and a Tai Chi diagram was in the middle. The Tai Chi diagram slowly rotated, and the two powers also rotated, becoming the Tai Yin on the right, and the Tai Chi diagram on the left. The Tai Yin sword actually appeared from the hidden star ring, and swallowed the Tai Yin power. The white clouds in the sky also changed. From the dark at the beginning, it gradually became lighter, and then became a special white cloud. The formless star power spread everywhere, and a strange feeling surfaced in his mind. The sand, the sky, the discarded blood, and the star demon's corpse in the distance. Everything around him appeared clearly in his mind. When the discarded blood and bone fragments were all discharged, new blood was replaced. Jiang Changkong slowly opened his eyes. All the changes stopped. The white clouds dissipated and the power was retracted. In the Stargate, the body of flesh and blood condensed into a miniature version of him. Was this the legendary nascent soul? He checked his own stats. Jiang Changkong, early stage star embryo. High tier lower grade martial art. 3-foot golden body. Entry 1/50,000 Tai Chi Yin Yang art. Beginner 1/50,000 domineering saber. Initiated 1/50,000 holy sun art. Initiated 1/50,000 soul governing art. Beginner 1/50,000 bright moon skill. Initiated 1/50,000 white cloud ninefold sutra. Initiated 1/50,000 essence, energy, spirit. 294-1155. 4. Looking at the remaining essence, energy, and spirit, Jiang Changkong was not in a hurry to improve it. He first comprehended the changes in his cultivation technique. The indestructible Vajra divine art had been upgraded to a 3-meter golden body. Regrowing severed limbs and instant recovery were not a problem at all. His healing ability was comparable to a celestial body martial artist. Even if his head was chopped off, it could still grow back. However, whoever could chop off his head could definitely kill him. It was better not to think about this. The biggest change was still the power pattern, which had transformed into the power dragon. 6 power patterns were enough to kill an early-stage star embryo martial artist of the same level. Moreover, the power pattern could also absorb spiritual power and burst out with terrifying power. Moreover, there was an additional secret technique that could burst out a 3-meter golden body. It was pure power and doubled the defense. Next was the Tai Chi mysterious art, which became the Tai Chi Yin Yang art. Its main purpose was to divide Yin and Yang. It was no longer the Tai Chi diagram, but it could separate Yin and Yang. Now, he could use the Tang sword technique and the blazing sun saber technique. This martial art had increased his strength by more than one level. Next was the graceful 3 strokes. The upgraded domineering saber was even more terrifying. It was still the same 3 strokes. The domineering saber inherited the speed from before. It was silent, traceless, and killed people without injuring them. It completely suppressed people with its strength. When the saber went down, it did not cut people in half, but turned them into powder from the inside. Next was the blazing sun technique, which became the holy sun technique. The holy sun technique had extremely strong healing and killing abilities. Under the illumination of the holy sun, it could grow all things and also kill all things. The moves didn't change. It was still the same 3 strokes: the blazing sun, and the setting sun. The footwork was still the mysterious sun step, but it was more complicated and terrifying. As for the Yuling art, the evolved God-governing art, it was a terrifying martial art. It targeted the soul. If he wanted to, he could pull a person's soul out of his body. With the God-governing art, he could leave his body and travel spiritually. He was more and more suspicious that this was an immortal cultivation art. Also, wherever the God-governing art's star power passed, everything would appear clearly in his mind as if he was there personally, except that he couldn't hear anything. The cold moon art had evolved into the bright moon art. Just like the blazing sun technique, the moves and footwork didn't change, but it was more powerful and complicated. The 9 heavens 9 clouds art had evolved into the white cloud 9-layer sutra, which was somewhat beyond his expectations. It could greatly suppress the moon and the sun. Even if he didn't use the Tai Chi mysterious art, he could still separate the moon and the sun in his body and coexist peacefully. Under the white clouds, the sun and moon lost their light. Jiang Chongkong closed his eyes and felt that every cell in his body was filled with the star power of the 7 martial arts, coexisting peacefully. I should improve while I still can. Jiang Chongkong thought for a while and upgraded the 7 martial arts to the middle stage of the star embryo realm. This breakthrough didn't cause a huge commotion. Jiang Chongkong also suppressed the fluctuations on purpose. Jiang Chongkong, middle stage star embryo realm high-tier low-grade martial art, 3-foot golden body, initial success 1/30,000 Tai Chi Yin-Yang art, initial success 1/30,000 tyrant saber, initial success 1/30,000 holy sun art, initial success 1/30,000 God-governing art, initial success 1/30,000 bright moon art. Initial success 1/30,000 white cloud 9-layer sutra. Initial success 1/30,000 essence, energy, and spirit. 259-1155. For his strength soared again. The star embryo in his body also became stronger and taller. It increased by 6 times. Never mind. It looks like I can still improve it. I'll improve it all at once. I'll think about how much I need in the future. Jiang Chongkong gritted his teeth and increased his strength again. He went straight to the late-stage star embryo realm. He could only get more star stones when he became stronger. Moreover, he entered the void realm with his late-stage star embryo strength. If he didn't use his star body, who could be his match? Jiang Chongkong, late-stage star embryo realm high-tier low-grade martial art. 3-foot golden body, Deshang 1/180000 Tai Chi Yin-Yang art, Deshang 1/180000 tyrant saber, Deshang 1/180000 holy sun art, Deshang 1/180000 God governing art, Deshang 1/180000 bright moon art, Deshang 1/180000 white cloud 9-layer sutra, Deshang 1/180000 essence, energy, and spirit, 491155. 4-inch. It's been a day. Jiang Chongkong looked up at the sky. It was already dark. A day had passed. I promised to give them 3 days, so I'll give them 3 days. Jiang Chongkong stepped into the void. This time, he didn't need to use the God-governing art. He could fly in the air as if it was instinct. 3 days was considered as giving them hope. If they could find it, then let them fight for it. That was also considered as him taking care of them, right? If they couldn't find it, he would make a move and flatten the sinful realm. At the same time, he would also find that thing underground. With his strength, he should be able to beat them all. The one from the Immortal Palace probably wasn't an astral body martial artist. Astral body martial artists were considered the top in the void realm. They probably wouldn't let an astral body martial artist take the risk. He went to the beach. The commotion caused by the breakthrough just now had probably scared those geniuses. He had to comfort their weak hearts. Chapter 245. Chiang Kai-sheng, you're finally back. A group of people gathered together and looked around anxiously. Upon realizing that Jiang Chongkong had returned, they immediately went forward to welcome him. What's wrong with all of you? Why haven't you made a move? Jiang Chongkong was confused. Even if we're frightened, it shouldn't be to this extent, right? Chiang Kai-sheng, did you not notice the commotion today? It's a high-level creature, the entire Sin domain is shaking. Furthermore, it has appeared once and there are 6 of them, that's too terrifying. They did not appear at other times, but now, it must be because we wanted to break through the Sin domain, and angered him. We cannot break through the Sin domain, Chiang Kai-sheng, let's change to another method. A group of martial artists spoke up, their faces were filled with unconcealable fear. Jiang Chongkong's expression was calm. You guys are such geniuses? Heaven's Pride? He quietly looked at the Heaven's Pride. Heaven's Pride from the large powerhouses, Heaven's Pride from the Federation, you only have this much guts? Chiang Kai-sheng, you are powerful, even an initial stage star embryo might not be able to do anything to you, but we are different. A martial artist said in fear. High-level creatures, even if they have just stepped into the high level, they can kill us with one finger. That's right, we are all here to reap the harvest, there's no need to throw our lives away. I don't care about the Sin Medallion and Star Stones, I just want to return safely. Alright, stop talking. Jiang Chongkong said coldly, his voice resounding in everyone's ears. I've seen that place, there's no big problem. You've seen it? There's no big problem. What's with the 6 golden dragons? All of you shut up, it's so messy. How am I going to explain it to all of you? Jiang Chongkong snorted and said impatiently. Everyone shut up once again, and focused their gaze on him. Jiang Chongkong placed his hands behind his back, his expression indifferent. Let me organize my thoughts first. Let me think, how can I weave a story to fool everyone? The group did not dare make a sound and waited for his explanation. He couldn't mention high-level creatures, and he couldn't mention anything taboo either. There was only one excuse left. Thinking of this, he said, it's like this. Everything you see is fake. Fake? How is this possible? Nan Wu Yang and the others were stunned. How could it be fake? That was a high-leveled creature that shook the entire Sin domain. The space had almost shattered. It could not be fake. In fact, it was caused by a huge star formation. Think about Jin Chen. He can even create a high-level protective shield. It shouldn't be difficult for him to create a star formation, right? Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. They definitely know that we want to break through the Sin domain, that way they won't be able to hide anymore. You're saying that they're doing this on purpose because they're worried that we'll find them? Nan Wu Yang and the others hastily asked. Yes, but what I find strange is that they have such a star formation and a high-level protective shield. Why don't they take the initiative to attack? Jiang Chongkong looked at Ji Qingyue and made a guess. I'll make a bold guess. They're definitely hiding something and don't want us to know. As for not coming out? That's simple. Master and Shanhe is watching from outside the island. They can only use Jin Chen to deal with us. Ji Qingyue's expression changed slightly as he said thoughtfully. That's right. It must be a star formation. If it's really a high-leveled creature, Master and would have already entered. Yao Chan explained in her fluttering red dress. I see. These bastards, they want to scare me away? The group of people suddenly came to a realization and finally understood. Jiang Chongkong rolled his eyes. Understood my ass. As for why Shanhe did not appear, he did not know either. With his strength, it would seriously affect the balance. Even if Shanhe did not take him away, he would at least come out and say a few words. Moreover, they wanted to break through the Sin domain and destroy it, but Shanhe did not appear to stop them. Did he not care about the Sin domain, or was he already gone? What are you thinking about? A faint fragrance wafted over. Jiang Chongkong woke up from his thoughts. It was Yao Chan, nothing. I have something to tell you. Let's go to the side, Yao Chan said. Then, she took the lead and walked to the side. The two of them walked side by side on the beach. They stepped on the sand and the seawater flowed over their feet. That's not a star formation, right? Yao Chan said indifferently. I can still tell if it's a star formation or not. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, What are you trying to say? If we encounter any danger, please help us out of consideration for Yao Meng. Yao Chan's expression became solemn. This trip to the Sin domain is more dangerous than ever. Now, only you have reached a high level of combat power. You suspect that the Immortal Palace has a high-level martial artist hiding here? He could have killed us long ago, Jiang Chongkong said. Yao Chan said calmly, I've already explained that someone is watching. Looking at the situation now, Shanhe must have been lured away by someone with an excuse. Jiang Chongkong thought for a while and nodded. That should be the case. So, we have to hurry before the other party makes a move. Yao Chan's expression became slightly solemn. Her hair fluttered with the sea breeze. Only when we find the entrance to the space tunnel can we contact the family's high-level martial artists to come in. Okay. If the other party is not too strong, I will delay him while you contact the family's experts. Jiang Chongkong smiled lightly. Then, from now on, I will go somewhere else to take a look. If the other party comes out, I will be able to find him. Thank you. Yao Chan cupped her hands slightly and turned to leave. Jiang Chongkong flew away. This time, he changed his method. Divine reigning art. The invisible star power spread rapidly with him as the center. Most of it seeped into the ground, while the rest entered the rocks and trees on the ground. Without alerting the other martial artists, Jiang Chongkong suppressed the undulations to an extremely low level. It works. Jiang Chongkong was slightly happy. The situation underground appeared in his mind. Some insects, mud, and everything was pitch black, but it did not affect the star power. As it seeped in, the things buried underground also appeared. The ground silently cracked open, and a pile of star stones flew out automatically and came to his side. I will collect star stones for the next 2 days. With a smile on his face, Jiang Chongkong continued to radiate his star power. As long as he didn't meet someone stronger than him, he wouldn't be able to prevent the Yuling art from spreading. Of course, he didn't go too deep, only 300 meters. This distance was about right. If there were 400 or 500 meters buried, it would be considered that the group of heavenly talents was lucky. Jiang Chongkong looked at a coconut tree and waved his hand. The coconut on the tree fell. The coconut cracked open, and it was full of star stones. What a group of talents! Jiang Chongkong took the star stones and continued to search. In 2 days, Jiang Chongkong only spent half a day to search the entire island and found all the star stones. But he didn't find the hiding place of that group of people. In the end, he continued to explore deeper and found star stones. The heavenly talents also had 500 meters of star stones. Jiang Chongkong couldn't be blamed for this. After all, those guys had hidden deeper than the star stones. The star-concealing rings of hundreds of cubic meters were filled with star stones. Did he scour the ground for 500 meters? Could it be that this group of fellows are hiding 500 meters below? That is... A touch of blood appeared in Jiang Chongkong's mind. Suddenly, his head felt as if it were being pricked by needles, and he quickly withdrew all his star power. Chapter 246. What was that just now? Rubbing his head, Jiang Changkong felt a sharp pain that went straight to his soul. He only had time to see a blood-red light and a blurry silhouette that seemed to be a palace. A palace! Jiang Changkong quickly took out the tricolored stone bead. Instantly, the tricolored light flew out and entered his mind. The pain disappeared. Jiang Changkong heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that it was really what he was looking for. Also, the dense blood-red light. Was that the Blood Qi Palace? Of the 3 palaces, only the Blood Qi Palace matched the description of the Sun and Moon Palace. However, the image in his mind only mentioned the Blood Qi Palace, but not what it contained. It was most likely the Sun and Moon Palace. As for why it was not mentioned, he thought of a few possibilities. The first one was that the Blood Qi Palace was trash, and was not worthy to be mentioned in the same breath as the other 2 palaces. The second one was that the Blood Qi Palace was too terrifying. The old man did not know much about it. He only saw it before the disaster. There was also the possibility that he did not have the time to leave a message. But no matter which one it was an extremely powerful treasure for him. This Blood Qi Palace will be hard to deal with. The tricolored stone bead dimmed again. The palace had disappeared. With his late-stage star embryo strength, he was injured just by touching it. Although it was not serious, it was troublesome. It was time to tell Yao Chan and the rest. Jiang Changkong kept the tricolored stone bead and disappeared. Rumble! A terrifying power lit up the night sky above the Sin realm. The island's beach was gone, and the barrier was covered by a layer of sand. Star power converged, and the sand turned into a sturdy wall, surrounding the island. A group of Star Soul martial artists were 3,000 meters below the island, surging with star power and pushing forward. In 2 days, they had pushed less than 100,000 meters. At this rate, they would not be able to finish it in half a month. Jiang Changkong descended from the sky. The elites stopped and walked towards Jiang Changkong. You've worked hard, Jiang Changkong said lightly. 3 days have passed. Are you going to make a move? Yao Chan frowned. I think you should maintain your strength. Jiang Changkong said lightly. There's something underground that can move. All of you should rest. Something underground is moving? Is it that group of criminals? The prodigies hurriedly asked. No, it's something strange. I only vaguely saw that it was a palace, Jiang Changkong said. Palace? Many of the Heaven's Chosen were stunned. Impossible, how can there be a palace in the Sin domain? It can even move? I'm not sure either. That palace was very strange. I only encountered it once and I was lightly injured. Jiang Changkong explained, all of you be careful. Tell everyone to retreat. There was nothing he could do. The power of the Blood Qi Palace had exceeded his expectations. Initially, Zhang Xian had thought that he would be able to take everything for himself after stepping into the late stage of the star embryo realm. However, from the looks of it now, it was no longer possible. Since that was the case, he would let everyone know that it was impossible for him to kill everyone here for a palace. Many cultivators stopped and looked at Jiang Changkong strangely. The outstanding talents did not tell him what exactly was going on. Since the Blood Qi Palace could injure Jiang Changkong, it was obvious what kind of treasure it was. These prodigies were all looking forward to it. Jiang Changkong ate the meat and they could drink the soup, right? Everyone pushed away, and Nan Wu Yang took out his sword. Do you want it? No need. Jiang Changkong waved his hand. His weapon was not bad, but it was still at the 6th level. It could not bear his star power. He raised his palm, and the blazing sun star power surged out. A destructive force spread out. Everyone looked at the star power in fear. Everywhere the star power passed, everything disappeared. That's right, it was disappearing. Completely disappearing. The 3,000-meter tall ground disappeared without a sound. There was not even a speck of dust. It was as if it had never existed. The star power was still spreading. The surrounding ground disappeared. Everyone looked at this scene and their minds went blank. There were no screams or panic. There was only emptiness. There were no thoughts. They were scared out of their wits. Damn it, are you here to bully us? In the blink of an eye, everything within a 10,000-meter radius disappeared. Then, another blazing sun star power lit up. This power, we seriously suspect that you did not use your full strength when you bullied Jinchen. You slashed for an entire day just to show us. Let's go. Jiang Chongkong walked forward. He could cover a few hundred meters with each step. This speed could be considered as taking care of them. Everyone came to their senses and hurried to catch up. What level are you at exactly? Astral embryo? How did you sneak in? Are you an old monster that came in here in disguise? A group of elites caught up and asked all at once. Jiang Chongkong raised his hand slightly, and everyone stopped talking. I'm not as old as you. People call me a genius. Everyone. You think you can measure that by being a genius? You're clearly a freak. With a wave of his hand, everything within a 10,000-meter radius disappeared. It was as if it had evaporated. That thing is nearby. Jiang Chongkong looked at his feet. We have to dig a little deeper. Ji Qingyue said anxiously. Are you really going to dig 10,000 meters? What's the limit of this astral barrier? Jiang Chongkong looked up at the barrier in the sky. Nan Wuyang replied, Early-stage astral body. What are you going to do? Early-stage astral body. That thing keeps moving, but it has never left the sinful realm. It should be inside the astral body. Jiang Chongkong pondered. Don't you want to know what it is? Don't you want to share? You're willing to share with us. The elites were tempted. We're all friends. It's up to our own abilities. Jiang Chongkong smiled. If it wasn't for the fact that I might not be able to eat it, why would I share with you? Jiang Chongkong knew that even with the tricolored stone bead, he could not eat the palace. It was impossible to stop them from thinking about it. Besides, once the palace appeared, the Federation would be the first to know. By then, many high-level martial artists would come. Since that was the case, he would do them a favor. Let's see who could snatch it. Then let's dig. Dig. The elites said excitedly. We'll remember this. If there's really that palace, we'll owe you a favor regardless of whether we get anything. That's right. If it's really a high-level treasure, we'll owe you one. The elites all promised. Jiang Chongkong laughed. He did not mind. He waited for the palace to leave before taking action. As long as the palace was still in the Sin domain, he was not afraid of it escaping. When he cleared the 10,000 m radius, no matter how the palace moved, it would not be able to escape. He raised his palm again, causing the ground to dissipate. A group of martial artists floated in the air and did not fall. Everyone was shocked at Jiang Chongkong's strength. The remaining 7,000 m of ground evaporated, and a layer of gold light surfaced. It was the Sin domain's barrier. Everyone stepped onto the barrier. Jiang Chongkong made his move again. A scorching sun rose, releasing boundless starlight that spread out in all directions. The ground started to evaporate. At this speed, he would be able to flatten the Sin domain in a day. That's great. Deep underground, the group of Sin domain martial artists started to panic. For the past few days, the ground had been trembling non-stop, causing them to be uneasy. What's happening outside? Could it be that the howling high-level creature is going berserk? One of the martial artists asked. The 9 of them had serious expressions as they looked at the black-robed man who was walking over. What's happening outside? Wang Ruiqing is investigating. I have already activated the surveillance system that I buried underground. There will be news soon. The black-robed man said. A middle-aged man walked over with a serious expression. Unfortunately, I have to inform everyone that we cannot hide anymore. What exactly is happening? The black-robed man stared at him. Wang Ruiqing said solemnly. The ground is disappearing. This time, a powerful martial artist has appeared in the Sin domain. He is sweeping through the Sin domain. The black-robed man and the 9 people. Sweeping through the Sin domain? Was he out of his mind? We have been hiding here for so long, and for the star stones, you are going to sweep through the Sin domain? Chapter 247. Everyone could not understand. Were these people crazy? It's this person. Do you know him? Wang Ruiqing took out her phone and saw the image of Jiang Changkong on it. The next second, the screen turned black. What's wrong? A martial artist frowned. The surveillance is gone. This madman evaporated everything within 10,000 meters. Wang Ruiqing tapped on her phone a few times. Look at the new surveillance footage. It's him? The man in black and the 9 people blurted out at the same time, Jiang Changkong? Jiang Changkong? Wang Ruiqing frowned slightly. Which supreme talent is he from? How could he be so terrifying? Ma Xuan glanced at him and said, Jiang Changkong isn't someone from a major power. He's an unorthodox person who crawled out from Jianghai province. An unorthodox person is actually this terrifying. Wang Ruiqing's expression darkened. Sir, if you want that thing now, you can only deal with Jiang Changkong first. The black-clothed man pondered for a moment and said, How long will it take for the restrictions on their bodies to be removed? 1 hour. Wang Ruiqing looked at the 9 of them and said. Mo Xian said coldly, Sir, even if we undo the restrictions, it is impossible for us to immediately step into the higher echelons. I've prepared medicine for all of you. The man in black said faintly, It won't be a problem for all of you to step into the advanced level. Thank you, my lord. Before Mo Xian could even speak, the other 8 spoke out in excitement. It's a pity that Qin Feng doesn't have this fate. Someone said. That's because he deserves to die for retreating so slowly. The others sneered and said, Wait until we reach the advanced level, then we'll go and kill that brat. The black-clothed man turned around and left. A device appeared in his hand, displaying the scene of Jiang Changkong's rampage. This person is truly crazy. He wants to destroy the Sin domain. Is he not afraid of the Federation's condemnation? Wang Ruiqing asked doubtfully. Say, do you think he discovered what our Lord wants? A warrior asked. No, Jiang Changkong loves star stones to the point that he's sick of them. We have the star stones that he wants on us, and are unable to hide, and in his madness, he can only flatten the Sin domain. Ma Xuan said indifferently. Just for star stones? He's a lunatic. The 8 martial artists shook their heads repeatedly. If it were them, they would definitely not do such a crazy thing. They had a lot of star stones on them, but this was an entire island. Wasn't it crazy to flatten an entire island? Mo Xian gave Wang Ruiqing a look, blinked his eyes, and then used his gaze to signal towards the black-clothed man. Wang Ruiqing's eyes flashed. She nodded slightly and turned to leave. On the other side, as the ground disappeared, a group of people stepped on the golden barrier, still a little confused. The group of geniuses had already sat down. The rest would be left to Jiang Changkong. There was nothing else they could do. I suddenly want to go back, hug my 2 girlfriends, and have a good sleep. A martial artist said. I also want to go back, hug your 2 girlfriends, and have a good sleep. In this lifetime, I will never come back to Sin domain, I swear. After going to the Void Realm, I'll stay away from this guy. The further, the better. The prodigies nodded heavily. They had to stay away from this fellow as well. This was too much of a bully. This level of strength was definitely at the high level. How could a group of peak astral spirits compete? They could not even fight with their lives. Jiang Changkong waved his hand and released a blazing sun, returning. Changkong, what are you doing? Ji Qingyue asked curiously. I'm just here to ask you. If this goes on, all the criminals will be discovered by me first. Jiang Changkong said calmly, then, everything here will be mine. Everyone. You're not going to leave anything for us, are you? Chang Kaisheng, give us some food. We are all people who want face. The corner of Nan Wuyang's mouth twitched. If you do this, how can we go out with face? All right then, write an IOU, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. An IOU? Everyone was stunned. You buy the right to fight for it. When you find the criminals, I won't make a move. You guys fight for it first. How about that? Jiang Chongkong said calmly. And then? The prodigies looked at him blankly. It belongs to whoever gets it first. I won't take it from you. Some flames appeared in Jiang Chongkong's palm. These people from Sin Realm still have 9 overlords. I only killed 1 Cyan Wind overlord. I can give you 4 days. After 4 days, I will make a move. How about that? Really? The prodigies were overjoyed and asked hurriedly. How many could they kill in 4 days if they joined forces? If Jiang Chongkong did not make a move in 4 days, they might be able to try for first place? Even now, you still don't believe in my character? Jiang Chongkong said with some dissatisfaction. All right then, tell us what you want. If it's star stones, forget it. We still need them in the Void Realm. Everyone said. Jiang Chongkong rubbed his chin. Well, you guys know that I have a friend named Jiang Changyue, right? We know that. The prodigies nodded. They had all seen Jiang Chongkong's information before. Jiang Chongkong smiled. That's easy. Changyue's weapon is still mid-tier, and so is mine. We don't have to go to the Void Realm. Do you guys think we should level up or something? We can help Jiang Changyue forge a high-tier weapon, Ji Qingyue said. Not forge, just give me the materials. My teacher is Professor Yun. She will help me, Jiang Chongkong said lightly. My crescent blade has you guys. If you guys replace it with a fake, who am I going to complain to? No problem, but it can only be lower grade 7. Ji Qingyue nodded. Nan Wuyang said, Then I'll be responsible for preparing the materials for your weapon. It can only be lower grade 7. No problem. Jiang Chongkong nodded in satisfaction and looked at the others. What about you guys? What else do you need? The prodigies frowned. They already had a weapon. What else did Jiang Chongkong lack? They did not even have enough star stones for themselves. How about mechas? Jiang Chongkong asked with a smile. Mechas? The prodigies' expressions changed slightly. They looked at each other and said, Let's discuss and see how many we can get for you. Jiang Chongkong urged, Hurry up. If we're late, the criminals will find us. The prodigies gathered together and discussed for half an hour before deciding on a price. Yao Chan, who was dressed in red, smiled and did not say anything. A young prodigy with short hair gritted his teeth and said, 3. I'm Luowen from the Federation. I'll send them to you after we get out. They're also lower grade 7. Sure. Jiang Chongkong smiled and raised his hand. We'll record it. 1 for each of us as evidence. The prodigies did not hesitate and agreed to record it. Nan Wuyang could not help but say, You have to promise that no matter what, you will not make a move. I promise, unless you beg me, I will not make a move within 4 days. Jiang Chongkong smiled warmly. The prodigies agreed. As for begging him? Impossible. Wait a minute, something was wrong. When did this guy become so easy to talk to? Ji Shuiyu looked at him strangely. Why are you suddenly so easy to talk to? You're not even going to increase the price? With Jiang Chongkong's talent, if he stepped into the high level, he would definitely not be interested in ordinary lower grade 7 weapons. Just now, he said to beg him. Could there really be high-level martial artists in the Sin domain? Someone from the Immortal Palace? I've been tricked. Chapter 248. Seeing all the geniuses rubbing their fists, as well as their excited sister. Ji Shuiyu's face turned green. Have you thought about it, that there might be a high-leveled martial artist hiding in the Sin domain? Everyone's smile froze. Luowen frowned. Wasn't the trembling from the star formation? That might not be the star formation, and there might really be a high-leveled martial artist. The geniuses of the Federation did not know, but Ji Qingyue and the rest did. There were people from the immortal palaces hiding in the Sin domain, and it was definitely a high-leveled martial artist. Jiang Chongkong knew that they could not win against a high-leveled martial artist, and could only beg him. Yao Chan smiled indifferently and walked to the side. Luckily, she did not say anything. He had already discussed this matter with Jiang Chongkong a long time ago. Since Jiang Chongkong had taken the initiative to suggest it, she could not go against it. After all, she still needed to rely on Jiang Chongkong. These people, it could only be said that they were blinded by the good news. Ji Qingyu and Nan Wuyang knew it, but they still agreed, so they could only blame themselves. Jiang Chongkong was clearly tricking them. The island was quickly disappearing, and Jiang Chongkong had long escaped. By the time they reacted, they would probably be crying for their parents, hugging his legs and begging him. What happened just now did not count. I cannot give them the chance. I have already shared the Blood-Chi Palace with you, so you should compensate me. Thinking about that, Jiang Chongkong's heart calmed down, and he continued to clear the island. He was constantly paying attention to the changes in the three-colored stone pearls, and once he sensed something, he would change his direction. Before completely flattening the Sin domain, he did not want to clash with the Blood-Chi Palace. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, half a day had passed, and half of the island had been flattened. Bang! Roar! Ah! Different sounds came out, and half of the island shook intensely. The sound pierced through the air and resonated throughout the entire Sin domain. An invisible pressure could be felt, together with a strong force of the stars. This is? Jiang Chongkong was slightly surprised. Someone had stepped into the high-leveled martial artist, and it was not just one. Although it was not as powerful as him, but it was not weak. Buzz. On the island, dense extreme cold chi surged, and a bright moon hung high in the sky. The terrifying extreme cold chi spread, and half of the island was frozen. Then, the aura of the blazing sun swept out. The sun and moon were in the same sky. Then, the terrifying power of metal shot toward the barrier 1,000 meters in the sky like a giant sword. The strange changes continued, and stronger waves swept out. There's more than one high-level martial artist. In the distance, the expressions of the paragons changed drastically. How could this be? How can there be so many high-leveled martial artists in the Sin domain? One by one, the martial artists cried out in alarm. Were they here to harvest? They were clearly here to deliver their heads. Silver-white moonlight sprinkled down. A woman with a bright moon above her head walked through the air. A bright moon appeared under her feet, as if she was a fairy stepping on the moon. Then, a blazing sun rose, and a man with a youthful face appeared in the sky with the sun above his head. Golden light blossomed as tens of thousands of swords paved the way. Clad in a golden robe and carrying a golden longsword on his back, the man stepped on the tens of thousands of swords. Rumble! An intense sound came out. The overflowing star power was like a curtain in the sky, and an azure mech broke through the air. Jiang Chongkong raised his head to look at the sky and smiled. Even the mechs are here, interesting. The 4-star embryos had just broken through. But the 4 of them were not ordinary. Even if they had just broken through, among the initial stage star embryos, they were considered one of the stronger ones. The 4 of them flew down, and the extreme lady directly appeared in front of Shui Yu and the rest. The 2 sisters immediately greeted. Aunt. The man with the extreme sun star power appeared in front of Nan Wuyang. 4th uncle. Nan Wuyang said excitedly. So, the high-leveled martial artist was one of them, so there was nothing to be afraid of. Luo 1. The azure mech landed, and a voice came out. It's Professor Yu? Luo 1 said excitedly. The man dressed in gold stood in the air, but could not find the figure. You're Xing Jin, right? Stop looking, Jin Chern has already been killed by me. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. This group of people did not let him have a peace of mind. It seemed like they wanted to target him, and Shui Qingyue and the others would not beg him anymore. The golden-robed man's gaze fell on him. You are very strong, no wonder Jin Chen died. You three, it's time to work. Aren't we working? An old voice came from the azure mech. We are taking care of the younger generation. The golden-robed man's expression darkened. What, are you going to turn against us so quickly? You worry too much. Ji Moshwan's expression was cold, and he reached out to caress the two sisters' hair. Good, very good, the Ji family has two geniuses, it will prosper greatly. Aunt Jiang Chongkong is our friend, and now that you have broken through to the high level, let's go to the Union to beg for mercy, they will definitely let you out. Shui Yu said hurriedly. Fourth uncle, congratulations. Nan Wu Yang hugged fourth uncle and said, the family will think of a way to save you. Good child. Fourth uncle Nan smiled and turned around. You all leave first, fourth uncle has something to do. Fourth uncle Nan, Jiang Chongkong is a friend of the Nan family. Nan Wu Yang's expression changed. Back off. Fourth uncle Nan waved his hand, and a gentle sun's star power enveloped them, taking them away. You all leave too. Ji Moshwan and the Azure Mech spoke at the same time, releasing a wave of star power, taking the warriors away. You are finally done. The golden-robed man slowly pulled out his long sword and looked coldly at Jiang Chongkong. Unorthodox, are you ready to die? Jiang Chongkong looked at them calmly. The other one, come out too, don't make me do it myself. The four were slightly surprised, and a trace of seriousness appeared on their faces. They saw a figure walking out from the soil, surrounded by a yellow halo. 4 early-stage star embryo cultivators, and a low-grade 7th-rank mech. What Jiang Chongkong was most interested in was that mech. It looked no different from an ordinary battle mech, unlike the ones in the television series in his previous life, which were huge and bulky. It was like a layer of armor, but it was even thinner and lighter, more like a battle suit. The warriors had already retreated, and Jiang Chongkong's expression was calm. Ji Moshwan, think carefully, I won't give you a second chance. Ji Moshwan's pupils shrank, thinking of the movement that shook the Sin realm. Could it be caused by Jiang Chongkong's breakthrough? Cut the crap, we 5 early-stage star embryo cultivators. Can't we deal with him? The golden-robed man was the first to attack, and a sharp sword light tore the void, leaving a small crack in the air. Too weak. Jiang Chongkong flicked his finger, accurately hitting the tip of the sword, and a tyrannical power vibrated, sending the golden-robed man flying. The rest of the people's expressions changed drastically. In just one exchange, with just a flick of a finger, an early-stage star embryo cultivator had been sent flying. Kill. Without hesitation, the other 4 shouted at the same time, and with their monstrous star power, they engulfed Jiang Chongkong. Jiang Chongkong frowned. On the body of the Nan clan's 5th uncle, mysterious patterns appeared, and the ardent sun star power was released. A suppressive force enveloped Jiang Chongkong. On Ji Moshwan's body, mysterious patterns also appeared, and they were more complicated than Ji Shuyue's. Extreme Yin and Extreme Yang, 2 great celestial bodies. Although it was only a part of it, it was still suppressing him. Just as he was about to attack, Ji Moshwan's voice suddenly sounded in his ears. The soil is full of surveillance cameras, Wang Ruiqing is not dead, and he already knows that you are looking for him. Don't answer, think of a way to leave this place, I will find you. You guys, do you still remember Yun Bugue? Chapter 249. Yun Bugue? Of course they remembered that Yun Bugue had already left the Sin domain. What was Jiang Chongkong doing now, carrying Yun Bugue? While everyone was puzzled, countless white clouds appeared in the surroundings, covering everything. White clouds curled up and covered the sky, instantly enveloping the 5 of them. Damn it, this is Yun Bugue's martial arts. The golden-robed man cried out in anger. His sword light flashed, but it was unable to penetrate the white clouds. The white clouds here were even stronger than Yun Bugue's. The deathly white clouds carried a deathly stillness. My strength, Chai Moshwan looked at the white clouds around her in shock. Her lunar star power was being suppressed. On the other side, the fifth uncle of the Nan clan was also being suppressed. The white clouds isolated them, forming a small independent space. In the isolated white cloud space, the surroundings were deathly white. Even if they walked out of the white cloud space, they would not be able to leave the area shrouded in white cloud. This was because when they walked out of the white cloud space, they would arrive at a new white cloud space. It was like a maze. The sun and the moon could not shine through the white clouds. The sharp power of metal, the heavy power of earth, and the azure mecha were also unable to break through the white clouds. While Chi Moshwan was bewildered, Jiang Chongkong walked over from the white clouds. Chi Moshwan, tell me what I want to know. Chao Moshwan calmed down and said, the spatial passageway is 10,000 meters away, 5,000 meters underground. There are 2 ethereal immortal palace cultivators there. They are both star embryo realm cultivators, but I do not know the details. Where's Wang Ruiqing? Jiang Chongkong asked indifferently. Wang Ruiqing is working for the immortal palace in the space passage. Jin Mo Xian explained. The people of the immortal palace concealed the fact that you came to find him. But the other party won't let Wang Ruiqing go so easily. From what he said, he wants to take Wang Ruiqing away. Take him away? Right now there should be high-level martial artists from the various factions outside. How are we going to take them away? Jiang Chongkong frowned. Wang Ruiqing knows that she is the person you want to save. As long as Wang Ruiqing gets out, it will be fine. Among the people of the major forces, there may be people from the Immortal Palace. Kumoshwan said in a low voice. Will they kill Wang Ruiqing? Jiang Chongkong asked calmly. If their lives are threatened, they will definitely use Wang Ruiqing to threaten you. Kumoshwan said. They originally did not want us to break through, but because you wanted to flatten the Sin domain and spoiled their plans, we were allowed to break through. They could have saved the people they should have saved a long time ago. What else is there? Jiang Chongkong was puzzled. I'm not sure. I only know that the people of the Immortal Palace are looking for something underground. One of them is an Earth attribute star embryo warrior. After he appeared, he set up surveillance devices in the depths of the ground to monitor the situation underground. Underground? Jiang Chongkong's expression darkened. Were those guys coming for the Scarlet Palace? Previously, he had only probed 500 meters deep and did not go any deeper. Otherwise, he would have discovered it. Next, he would use the spirit raining art to explore the underground space and the martial artists hidden in the soil. Are you working for him now? What are they planning? Jiang Chongkong asked. Return to home. Mo Xian said indifferently, the reason why the Immortal Palace saved us is to let us return. In the future, they can borrow the strength of our clan through us. They will let you go back without worry? Jiang Chongkong was stunned. Top-level poison, Mo Xian said calmly. Moreover, there are surveillance devices. Then now you. Jiang Chongkong's expression changed. Mo Xian waved his hand. Don't worry. Wang Ruiqing helped me deal with it. I can temporarily block it. He will make a fake recording. Jiang Chongkong heaved a sigh of relief and said, So, are you planning to infiltrate the Immortal Palace, or are you really working for the Immortal Palace? Infiltrate the Immortal Palace, of course. The Immortal Palace has hidden themselves well for so many years. This is an opportunity, Mo Xian said. Mo Xian said, You killed my brother, I won't hold back. What about Nan Yenyang and the others? Jiang Chongkong asked. I'm not sure. Maybe they have the same idea, maybe not. Mo Xian shook his head. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, If you want to take revenge, I will give you a chance. In the future, if there is news from the Immortal Palace, or if you use star crystals or star stones to challenge me, I can spare your life and give you more chances. Let's end this boring battle. Jiang Chongkong raised his right palm and white clouds gathered. Piercing clouds, breaking moon. The white clouds roiled as his palm descended. Bright moon, pft bang! Emo Xian was swallowed by the white clouds. The terrifying palm carried her out of the clouds and smashed into the barrier. Nan Yin Yang and the others appeared. Jiang Chongkong looked at them indifferently. Emo Xian is gone. It's your turn. Kill. The four of them shouted in unison. Sword light, blazing sun, heavy mountain, and azure sword light descended at the same time. This president hates Xing Jin's people. Jiang Chongkong grabbed the long sword and slashed it across the air, cutting his throat. You, the golden-robed man, opened his mouth, and a dense flame burned his body, turning him into ashes in the blink of an eye. No matter how strong his recovery ability was, he couldn't recover after turning into ashes. Clang! The long sword fell out of the clouds and landed on the barrier. The attacks of the other three arrived, but they stopped 3 feet away. Breaking sun, breaking cloud. White clouds curled around the palm, enveloping the three. The blazing sun's star power was restrained. Fourth Uncle's expression darkened, and blood gushed out as he was sent flying. As for the other two, their star power penetrated through their mechas and injured Professor Yu. Their palm power carried their mechas down. Another martial artist was swallowed by the white clouds. The white clouds dissipated, and the khaki-colored martial artist was reduced to a skeleton. The battle ended. The white clouds dissipated, and Jiang Chongkong descended from the sky. Emo Xian, Third Uncle, and Professor Yu stood up at the same time. You still want to fight? Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, go back to your factions. Also, when I leave, this mecha is mine. I'll lend it to you for now. Professor Yu, one day I'll kill you myself, Emo Xian said ruthlessly, about to leave. Wait, Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Emo Xian's body stiffened, and his expression darkened. What do you want? Hand over your star stones, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. No, I've given it all to someone else. Emo Xian took off his spatial equipment. See for yourself. The other two also took out their spatial equipment and handed it to him. Jiang Chongkong frowned. They really didn't have it. The people from the Immortal Palace probably wouldn't take it lying down and take the star stones. Get lost, Jiang Chongkong said with a wave of his hand. In the underground passage, the man in black's expression was gloomy. There were 5 people beside him. Of the 9 overlords, 4 were gone, and 1 was Professor Yu, who was piloting a mecha. In the end, 2 were dead and 3 were seriously injured. What exactly happened? Wang Ruiqing, did you see it clearly? The man in black said angrily. I saw it clearly. Jiang Chongkong's martial arts are somewhat similar to Yun Bugui's 9 skies 9 clouds technique. Wang Ruiqing explained, this is all the video recordings. Please take a look, sir. The man in black looked at the video, and his expression became even more gloomy. 9 skies 9 clouds technique, how could he have mastered it? Also, didn't Yun Bugui only derive it to the upper middle tier? Now it seems that Jiang Chongkong has improved his martial art. For the time being, it's confirmed that he has improved it to the star embryo level. Whether he has reached the astral level or not, I don't know. Wang Ruiqing said indifferently, it's impossible for an unorthodox person to be so terrifying. His cultivation talent and battle prowess are monstrous, and he can even derive high-level martial arts by himself? The man in black was slightly stunned, and the other 5 overlords also began to think. Could it be that there was a terrifying force behind Jiang Chongkong? Chapter 250. Out of the 9 overlords, only 5 remained. Just now, 4 of them had just broken through, and 1 low-grade 7th-grade mecha. Yet, they could not defeat Jiang Chongkong. The man in black no longer thought that the 5 of them could take him down. The 4 overlords were all prodigies in the past. Although they had just entered the advanced level, if they worked together, they could kill an early-stage star embryo cultivator. Could Jiang Chongkong be a mid-stage star embryo cultivator? Although the 9 heavens 9 clouds art counters the extreme yin and extreme yang. Yet, he easily defeated the 4 of them. His strength definitely exceeds the early stage star embryo cultivator. Wang Ruiqing analyzed calmly. So, if we want to take down Jiang Changkong, only the 2 of you can do it. The 5 overlords stood at the side, still in shock as they watched the video. The man in black turned to Wang Ruiqing. How much longer will it take to find the thing I want? Wang Ruiqing's expression was calm as she tapped on the device. If you don't stop Jiang Changkong, we will find it today. Him? The man in black took a look and almost vomited blood. That lunatic. Did Mo Xian and the rest send any messages back? Yes. Wang Ruiqing said calmly. Because Jiang Changkong did not get a single star stone, he went completely crazy. Prepare to go all out and flatten the Sin domain. With his current speed, he will need less than half a day. The man in black. The 5 overlords. Why did the Federation let such a lunatic in? Just because they did not bring any star stones, and he did not get any, he went crazy and wanted to flatten the Sin domain? Did the Federation know that we were here and let us in? The 5 overlords kept quiet out of fear. They did not dare to speak and stood further away. They suddenly did not want to break through. Don't give the breakthrough elixir to us. Keep it for yourself. The restrictions on him were removed by Mo Xian and the rest first. The man in black did not want to use the elixir either, thinking that they were enough. Now, the 5 overlords were glad that they were not the ones who attacked. Otherwise, their ashes would be cold and floating in the sea. Watch this place. I will go out for a while. The black-robed man glanced at Wang Ruiqing before his figure disappeared, leaving the underground space. In the underground tunnel, an invisible astral force swept over, which made Wang Ruiqing frown. She looked around suspiciously but found nothing. Jiang Changkong was currently using a radius of 20,000 m to quickly raise the Sin domain. Buzz. A beam of golden light swept over, annihilating the power of the blazing sun. A man in black suddenly appeared and stood in the air 100 meters away from Jiang Changkong. You've finally crawled out of the rat hole and left Wang Ruiqing, Jiang Changkong said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Your strength has really exceeded my expectations. The black-clothed man was not in a hurry to attack, and spoke in a sinister tone. He was a little worried that the Federation had let Jiang Changkong in on purpose. If that was the case, then the Federation must have known about their intentions a long time ago. Was there a spy among them? He could not see through Jiang Changkong's strength, so he did not dare to attack recklessly. I don't like to look up to others. Come down and talk while kneeling, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. The black-clothed man's sinister voice paused for a moment, then it was followed by a monstrous rage. Jiang Changkong, you are the first person who can anger me with just one sentence. Jiang Changkong suddenly lifted his head, and his eyes lit up. Divine reigning art. Kid you. Arg, the black-clothed man had just opened his mouth when he suddenly screamed. His black robe exploded, and an unfamiliar middle-aged face was revealed. It was a middle-aged man. Blood seeped out of his orifices, and the astral force in his body was in a mess. Plop! While in midair, he suddenly changed his posture. With a bang, his knees landed on the protective barrier, and he knelt down steadily. Advanced stage of the star embryo realm. So that's all you've got, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Jiang Changkong, how dare you humiliate me? Crawl over here. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. You, the black-clothed man, lost control of his body. His knees moved, and he actually crawled towards Jiang Changkong. In the distance, a group of martial artists watched this scene in horror. What the hell is going on? Ji Qingyue and the others were dumbfounded. Advanced stage of the star embryo realm? Jiang Changkong only glanced at him. Fourth Uncle Nan's face darkened. Was Jiang Changkong purposely teasing them just now? Mech scan. There was an invisible fluctuation of astral force just now. He must have made a move, Professor, you said in a low voice. Invisible? Isn't that impossible to guard against? The martial artists were horrified. They suddenly realized that Jiang Chongkong was the real Demon King. The sinners and the Immortal Palace's spies from the Sin realm were no match for him. Their hearts were the same as the black-clothed man's. Why did they let him in? Now, tell me what you are looking for. Jiang Chongkong looked down at the middle-aged man and said indifferently. The middle-aged man's expression was ferocious. His brain was still buzzing. He said coldly, Wang Ruiqing is in my hands. If I don't return, he will die. Your companion, is he the one in the soil? Jiang Chongkong looked at the soil in front of him. There was a peak star embryo stage martial artist shuttling through the soil. The middle-aged man's expression changed. You can find him? Sunset. With a breath, the sunset enveloped the entire Sin realm. A huge blade aura suddenly slashed down. A terrifying might enveloped the entire Sin realm. The weaker martial artists in the distance were directly pressed to the ground. GMO Xian and the rest were shocked. They had the urge to curse. This was simply abnormal. When the blade aura landed, there was no terrifying explosion. There was only silence. Everything was vaporized. The void cracked, and the cracks were like spider webs hanging in the sky. In the entire Sin realm, other than 2 places where the soil still existed, the rest were all disappearing. And the peak star embryo stage martial artist erupted with a torrential starlight to block the blade aura. Buzz. The blade aura stopped slightly. Under the horrified gazes of the crowd, the star embryo stage martial artist split into 2. Crack. An ear-piercing sound was heard. The protective barrier on the ground started to crack. I used too much strength. Jiang Chongkong frowned. At this moment, there was no obstruction in front of him. There were only 2 places where the soil was like a mountain, standing tall in the Sin realm. I want to go home, a martial artist cried. He was so scared that he cried. Half of the Sin realm had disappeared before their eyes. How should I take revenge? GMO Xian was stunned. This guy wanted me to bring news of the Immortal Palace, star crystals, and star stones to find him for revenge. It was obvious that he wanted him to give him resources and information. This blade aura had definitely reached the star body realm. Otherwise, it would definitely not be able to break this barrier. The blade aura dissipated. Jiang Chongkong was thinking. When he was in the middle level, he had reached the peak of the early stage star embryo stage. Now, he was only in the late stage star embryo stage. But when he used his full strength, his destructive power had already reached the star body realm. Was the difference between the middle level and the high level too huge? If that was the case, the difference between the high level and the high level was not that huge. There were not many cracks on the ground. He should have barely reached the early stage of the star body realm. He was not a match for a star body realm martial artist. After figuring it out, Jiang Chongkong looked at the middle-aged man again. I am very interested in the Immortal Palace. Will you tell me? The middle-aged man looked at him coldly and did not say a word. The pain of your soul burning. Are you not going to tell me? Jiang Chongkong pressed on the middle-aged man's forehead. Invisible star power poured into the man's body. He was prepared to forcefully capture his soul. Unfortunately, he did not know the soul-searching technique. Otherwise, it would be more convenient. I'll tell you. The middle-aged man felt his body turn cold. His soul stiffened. Invisible star power was binding him. Fear shrouded his heart as he screamed. Chapter 251. Jiang Chongkong released his hand. Speak. The Immortal Palace came here because they found something in the starry sky, a palace. Legend has it that above the top martial artists is the Immortal Realm, and this palace was left behind by an Immortal Realm powerhouse. The middle-aged man said hurriedly. Immortal Realm? The martial artist's expressions changed. Mo Xian and the others flew over. The current limit of Earth was only the top martial artists, and there had not been an Immortal Realm powerhouse. Everyone was tempted when it came to Immortal Realm powerhouses. Jiang Changkong's expression was calm. Continue. The middle-aged man did not dare to hide anything. Back then, the Immortal Palace was searching for a relic and found a spatial tunnel. The martial artists from the Immortal Palace went through the spatial tunnel and came to Sin Domain, but as soon as they appeared, they ran away. Star Body martial artists could not stay in Sin Domain. The upper limit here was Star Body, and entering would be detected by the Federation's instruments. After that, the Immortal Palace switched to Star Embryo martial artists. They brought a large number of weapons and equipment to rope in the people of Sin Domain. Of course, they were not so kind-hearted as to really do what was best for the people of Sin Domain. The Immortal Palace treated everyone here as cannon fodder. After confirming the location of the Blood-Chi Palace, these people were used as pathfinders. The instruments on their bodies were all replaced by theirs. With the instruments they could let these people go in and know what was going on inside. And they had a late-stage star embryo and a peak star embryo. Even if this group of people had an accident and reached star embryo, they could kill them. However, they were the same as Jiang Changkong. They did not expect that the palace could move. So, they buried instruments underground to search for the palace and explore its movement patterns. They wanted to deal with this matter quietly underground. They had the same idea as him. Jiang Changkong thought silently. They all wanted to eat it alone. However, this thing could not be eaten by one person. They would die from overeating. I see. Then, why did you save them? Jiang Changkong asked. To give them hope. In addition, there are many geniuses among this group. As long as they are nurtured, almost all of them can step into high-level martial artists. The middle-aged man explained. As long as they are nurtured well, the Immortal Palace can have a few more high-level martial artists. How much more do you know about the Immortal Palace? Jiang Changkong asked indifferently. Immortal Palace. The middle-aged man opened his mouth but fell silent. Jiang Changkong furrowed his brows and was about to activate the soul-governing art again. The middle-aged man's scalp went numb, and he hurriedly said, I'm just one of the teams from the Immortal Palace. The Immortal Palace has many exploration teams, searching for various things that fell from the starry sky. As for the rest, I really don't know. You don't know? Jiang Changkong's expression turned cold. I really don't know. We belong to the Scouting Palace, and we're only in charge of scouting these things. We don't care about anything else, and we're not allowed to ask about it either. The middle-aged man said in horror. Explore the palace? There are other palaces? Jiang Changkong asked. I don't know. From the moment they entered the Immortal Palace, the only thing they know is to investigate the palace. They can't care about anything else. Then you're really useless. Jiang Changkong sighed softly. Soul reigning art. No, 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 a mournful scream resounded. The middle-aged man's eyes widened, and his expression twisted as he slumped to the ground. An illusory middle-aged man flew out from the body and rapidly shrunk, landing in Jiang Changkong's hand. Soul capture. Emo Xian and the others retreated in horror. They weren't weaklings, and they could naturally tell that the illusory middle-aged man was a soul. He was forcefully pulled out by this guy. Even a high-level martial artist's soul is very fragile. Jiang Changkong looked at the soul in his palm and sighed. This soul was dissipating, and it could only exist for a moment. It couldn't withstand the fluctuations. The soul reigning art could forcefully ensure that the soul didn't dissipate, but in this way, he would have to expend a lot of energy to maintain its existence. Then, goodbye. A golden blazing sun rose, and the holy sun appeared. The soul body let out an ear-piercing scream and disappeared in an instant. It disappeared a little too quickly. The sacred sun art seems to be able to restrain souls. Jiang Changkong pondered. Souls are of the Yin attribute, so the power of the sun naturally restrains them. Fourth Uncle Nan explained. The extremes of yin and yang, but I don't see you restraining them. Jiang Changkong glanced at him and Emotian. When the two forces are about the same, neither restrains the other. Emotian said coldly, I've seen some soul cultivation techniques, but they aren't very strong. You can actually capture souls. This is the first time I've seen such a method. Could it be that you have a great force behind you? I've learned a lot, but how much can you see? Jiang Changkong said indifferently, let's save them. Wang Ruiqing should be anxious. How did you find the person in the soil just now? Emotian, fourth Uncle Nan, and Professor Yu all followed. Jiang Changkong didn't say anything. Knowing the specific location, he just needed to sweep over with the soul raining art. Wherever the soul raining art passed, he saw everything with his own eyes. It naturally wasn't difficult to find them. Jiang Changkong took their spatial equipment, and there were indeed star stones inside. The soil automatically split apart, revealing a passage. It was a gigantic underground space with intricate instruments. The Sin domain had a group of sinners, densely packed and endless. They've killed their way in. The Sin domain martial artists shouted out in fear. We've already hidden here, why won't they let us go? The Sin domain has already been leveled. Just for a few star stones, is there a need to do this? The criminals wanted to cry, it was too much of a bully. Jiang Changkong stepped into the underground space. It was extremely spacious, and was separated into a few levels to accommodate the Sin domain martial artists. Welcome Cheng Kaisheng. The 5 overlords immediately ran over and respectfully offered up their spatial equipment. These are some star stones and Sin orders, please accept them. Welcome Cheng Kaisheng, for getting rid of the immortal palace demon for the Sin domain, and returning peace to the Sin domain. One of the martial artists shouted out and kowtowed. Welcome Cheng Kaisheng, thank you Cheng Kaisheng for taking action, for getting rid of the immortal palace demon, and returning peace to the Sin domain. Respectfully, the rest of the criminals reacted, and immediately handed over their Sin orders, and the few star stones they had left. Hearing that, Cha Mo Xian and the rest's faces turned green. Peace to the Sin domain? Yes, it truly is peaceful, it's flattened. Immortal palace demon? Before they died, why didn't they dare to call themselves demons? Jiang Changkong smiled and looked at them. They are truly talented people. They have the ability to change the direction of the wind. But I have already taken what I should take. It's better to keep these criminals alive. It can be considered as leaving something for the future generations. If I kill all of them, the Federation will be anxious with me. I finally have a fat pig. If I kill all of them, what will I do in the future? Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Bring all of them out. Professor Wang Ruiqing stays, and bring Su Hingji and the rest over. You're ordering me? Cha Mo Xian's face turned cold. Jiang Changkong did not move, nor did he move. Cha Mo Xian's body froze. She took the initiative to walk out, releasing her star power. She forcefully congealed a silver moon bridge. Your body is still very honest. Jiang Changkong turned and smiled at her. Cha Mo Xian was shocked. Just now, it was Jiang Changkong who was controlling her. Let's go help. Nan family's 4th uncle, Professor Yu, immediately ran out to help. It's so scary to be with him. Chapter 252. The people of Sin Realm lined up and left. Wang Ruiqing was packing up the equipment. After everyone left, Cha Ma Xuan and the others brought Su Hengji and the other sick. The prodigies of the 3 families were also brought. Luowen and Professor Yu were also here. Professor Wang. Jiang Changkong sized up Wang Ruiqing. He was a handsome old man and a professor. He was a good match for Professor Yun. Cheng Kaisheng. Wang Ruiqing bowed. Thank you, Cheng Kaisheng, for coming to visit. I won't say it in a roundabout way. Jiang Changkong said calmly, you guys leave first. There's going to be a big change here. Cha Ma Xuan also said, the people from Immortal Palace won't be able to delay in Shanhe and the others for long. You guys have to hurry and leave. Wang Ruiqing nodded. The spatial tunnel is blocked by the martial artists from Immortal Palace. I'll need you guys to help. Jiang Chongkong opened his eyes. The soil in front of him dissipated, revealing a yellow barrier. Behind the barrier was a huge spatial crack. A sense of danger made Jiang Chongkong's heart palpitate. It was similar to the one in the abyss. An invisible force swept past, and the yellow barrier disappeared silently. The spatial crack appeared, and an invisible force circled around it. Jiang Chongkong didn't dare to get close. Jiang Chongkong looked at Yao Chan. You guys can contact each other now. Yao Chan nodded. She and Ji Qingyue each took out a stone and infused it with astral power. Rays of light shot into the spatial crack. The power from the spatial crack exploded and bombarded the starlight, but it couldn't do anything to it. The starlight left. Jiang Chongkong looked at Su Hengji and the other six. After we get out, follow Professor Wang closely. I'll find you guys when I get out. Yes, Su Hengji and the other six bowed excitedly. Chang Kaisheng, we swear to follow you until our deaths. Jiang Chongkong said, Professor Wang, I'll leave them to you. Wang Ruiqing's expression was solemn. Chang Kaisheng, don't worry. I'll watch over them and wait for you to come out. Buzz. Starlight erupted and the space channel stabilized. The power that made Jiang Chongkong's heart palpitate was forcefully suppressed. Two balls of light appeared in the spatial passage. One was scarlet and the other was like a full moon. The spatial passageway has been stabilized. Follow us. A voice came from within the round moonlight sphere. Big sister? Jin Mo Xian's body trembled as he looked excitedly at the full moon. Eldest aunt, Xue Qingyue and Xue Qingyue said emotionally. Yao Chan stepped forward and brought a person into the spatial passage. Seventh uncle, there are still opportunities in Sin Domain. The people from Immortal Palace are still searching for them. Opportunity? Surpassing the top warriors, the immortal god's opportunity. Kamashwan said in a low voice. The two balls of light shook violently. Really? It's true, Chongkong was the one who discovered it first. Yao Chan turned around and glanced at Jiang Chongkong. Chongkong is also a high-level martial artist now. Alright, you guys go first. We will immediately inform our family members to come to Sin Domain. Inside the full moon, a voice came out. Mo Xian, you leave too, although you are a high-level martial artist, but you cannot participate in what happens next. Yes. Kumashwan was very obedient, and stepped into the spatial passage. I will have to trouble the two of you to help me take care of these 8 people. Jiang Chongkong cupped his fists and said. We will naturally take care of them after the deal is done. We will also deal with their new identities. If you are confident, you can go to the palace first. The round moonlight sphere said. If you are not confident, wait for our people to come. Also, wait for them to leave, destroy this place, and we will smooth out the spatial crack. The scarlet ball of light released a voice, and brought the few people that were saved out of Sin Domain. Professor Yu, you're not leaving? Jiang Chongkong was surprised. Professor Yu actually did not leave. Professor Yu took off the mech and handed it over to Jiang Chongkong. I'm old, what's the point of going out? His hair was white, wrinkles that resembled the bark of an old tree, and his body was crooked. Luo Wen was shocked and immediately said, Professor Yu, after returning, use medicine to nurse yourself, you will be fine. My body is full of internal injuries, I don't want to leave. Professor Yu shook his head and took out a phone from his bosom. Everything I have learned is here, take it. Professor, no, so slow. Jiang Chongkong waved his hand, and Professor Yu directly flew into the spatial crack. The suppression power had not dissipated, and that group of people should not have left yet. After they smooth out the spatial crack, if they did not leave now, they would not be able to leave. Luo Wen, Ji Qingyue and the rest were startled. They did not expect Jiang Chongkong to return with such a move. Alright, all of you can leave. Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and said, This Luo Wen, do you want to save people or not? Can't you just directly give Professor Yu a kick? The spatial crack started to shrink, and that group of people was smoothing out the crack. Everyone retreated, and Jiang Chongkong also flew out. The soil started to dissipate, and the place was flattened. All of you retreat further, to the edge, Jiang Chongkong said. Everyone hurriedly retreated, to the edge of the Sin domain barrier. Jiang Chongkong looked at the remaining soil. I hope it is not too terrifying. This concerned the inheritance of the immortal god. He did not dare to be careless. The stone bead was vibrating, and the palace was inside. He realized that the palace liked to stay in the soil, and it was unwilling to come out. Just a trace of star power from the imperial god Art could hurt him. This palace was too strange. He raised his palm, and a blazing sun appeared, and the soil on it quickly disappeared. This time, he did not dare to make too big a move, afraid that the backlash would be too strong. Although the stone bead was here, he would not take the risk and suffer this pain. The soil dissipated, and under the stone bead's senses, the palace was also sinking. There was no more soil above, so he drilled down. Until there was only about 300 meters left, Jiang Chongkong stopped. Next, it was to carefully grind. Like peeling an orange, the star power peeled off the soil layer by layer, revealing bits of blood light. Rumble! A tremor was heard, and a monstrous blood chi shot into the sky. In the sky above the Sin domain, the barrier glowed, blocking the blood chi. Rumble! The last of the soil was washed away by the blood chi, and the cracks on the ground continued to expand. Clang, clang, clang. The blood chi surged and landed on Jiang Chongkong's body, and the terrifying force caused his chest to cave in. This is... I understand now. Jiang Chongkong was pleasantly surprised. This blood chi palace was filled with majestic blood chi. It should be pure power, and gave preferential treatment to pure blood chi and power. In the distance, there was not much power left in the aftermath, and Ji Qingyue and the others were only heavily injured under their full defense. Outside the barrier, Anshanha's face was flushed, and his body was emitting a thick smell of alcohol. But in the next moment, he was stunned. Damn, where's my Sin domain? I just had a drink, and when I came back, the Sin domain was gone? Did I go to the wrong place? Or was this an illusion? Lin Qin came through the air, also reeking of alcohol. Seeing him in a daze, she asked curiously, "What's wrong?" "We went the wrong way, this is not the Sin domain." Anshanha took a deep breath and said, "Are you really drunk, this barrier? If this is not the Sin domain, then where is it?" Lin Qin said disdainfully, "Look at your alcohol tolerance, it's been decades. Where is the Sin domain? Am I drunk too?" Boom. At this moment, blood light exploded, attacking the barrier, and a violent power shook. Crack. Cracks appeared on the barrier. "Quick, strengthen the barrier, something big happened inside," Anshanha shouted anxiously. Lin Qin quickly took action, and another barrier flew out, covering the original barrier. This time, it can withstand the peak of the astral body. Let's go in and take a look. Chapter 253. Rumble. The blood chi exploded and attacked the entire barrier. Even Jiang Chongkong was unable to withstand the overwhelming might and had no choice but to retreat. Roar. A roar came from inside the blood chi palace. "There's still a living being?" A horrified voice rang out. Ji Qingyue and the others' expressions changed. The other prodigies and sinners hid in a corner, trembling. They realized that they had come to the Sin realm to tremble in fear. Jiang Chongkong had a strange expression. Did this sound like a force pattern? Rumble. The sky shook violently as the black battleship rushed into the Sin realm, releasing boundless starlight in an attempt to suppress the blood chi. Kaboom! The black battleship shook, and cracks appeared on its surface. "This isn't star power, it's pure blood chi." "Put away the battleship," Lin Qin said. And Shanha hurriedly put away the battleship. The blood chi was too strange to be able to shake the battleship. Rumble! The battleship disappeared, and the two of them faced the blood chi. The terrifying blood chi actually destroyed the starlight. Ah, the two experts felt like their heads were about to split open. With two screams, the two of them fell down at high speed. Jiang Chongkong flew into the air, emitting dazzling golden light as he caught the two of them. Dong dong! A dull sound rang out and Jiang Chongkong's body caved in, but he recovered in an instant. Stepping on the ground, Jiang Chongkong flew back with the two of them. Buzz! The blood chi trembled and swam in the air, crisscrossing and forming a huge and strange formation. Is this a star formation? Shanhe and Ji Qingyue stabilized themselves and looked at the two of them in shock. It should be, Jiang Chongkong said. What's going on? Where's the Sin realm? And Shanhe looked around. Only the blood palace was left of the flattened barrier. Other than the soil isolated by the barrier, there was not a trace of sand. It was like a huge pit surrounded by seawater, and the seawater was pouring into the Sin realm. It was destroyed by this thing. Jiang Chongkong pointed at the Blood Chi Palace and said calmly. He would not admit that he was the one who destroyed it. What is this thing? How did it come to the Sin realm? The two of them asked at the same time. You have always been in Sin domain, right? Or maybe they were brought in by the people from the Immortal Palace. I killed two of them inside, Jiang Chongkong said. It's always been here. Immortal Palace? The two of them were a little confused. What was going on? Why did the Sin domain harvest become like this? Buzz. Just then, the star formation in the sky finally formed. It enveloped the entire Sin domain and slowly descended. As the star formation fell, a terrifying pressure enveloped everyone. The corner of Jiang Chongkong's mouth twitched. It seemed that he had really gone too far. Damn it, what is this? And Shanhe roared. The astral power in his body surged, and he was about to strike again. Jiang Chongkong hurriedly stopped him. Don't fight against this thing. This place is very strange. It can hurt us by following the star power. Then what do we do now? And Shanhe's expression changed slightly as he asked solemnly. I'll send you off later. Once you're out, inform the Union immediately, Jiang Chongkong said. Lin Qin's expression was solemn. We've already informed the Union. Someone will be here soon. Also, can you send us off? Don't move. Take them with you. I'll try. Jiang Chongkong glanced at Ji Qingyue and the others. They would die if they stayed here. Don't resist later. Be careful, Ji Qingyue and the others said. If you have a way, do it now. The star formation is about to fall, and Shanhe said anxiously. Jiang Chongkong gave them a deep look. Sit tight. Roar. A strange roar sounded. 6 golden dragons as thick as arms appeared, their heads suffused with blood energy. You were the one who roared that day? Ji Qingyue and the others looked at him in fear. Was Jiang Chongkong a human or a star demon? Don't just stand there. Everyone, get up. Jiang Chongkong shouted. The force pattern extended rapidly until it reached Ji Qingyue and the others. Let's go, and Shanhe shouted. Without hesitation, he stepped onto the golden dragon. Ji Qingyue and the others didn't think anymore and hurriedly stepped onto it. Jiang Chongkong said coldly, I'll say it again. Don't use star power later. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect you. Roar. The strange roar sounded again. This time, it wasn't the 6 force patterns, but the Blood Chi Palace. Rise. Carrying countless people, Jiang Chongkong's body suddenly expanded. Golden light shone and the force pattern thickened. 3-foot golden body. 3 foot tall, with dragon-like muscles. Force patterns coiled around his body, bursting with terrifying power. Wherever the force pattern passed, the blood chi star formation shook. Just as it was about to suppress them, it suddenly opened up a path and let them pass. Jiang Chongkong put his hands behind his back. The tricolored stone bead glowed. This was the only thing he could do. The force pattern alone couldn't send them away. The Blood Chi Palace gave him preferential treatment, but it wasn't his home. He could give them preferential treatment, but it was impossible for him to travel unimpeded. Fortunately, the tricolored stone bead was related to the palace, so it gave him permission. The force pattern extended to the barrier. Lin Qin hurriedly opened the barrier and the group left. They released the battleship and let Ji Qingyue and the others in. The two high-level martial artists had solemn expressions. They shouted, "Jiang Chongkong, come up!" Whoosh! The force pattern quickly retracted, the barrier closed, and the 3-foot golden body disappeared. "Jiang Chongkong, you uncle and Auntie Lin, this palace is most likely related to what Jiang Chongkong learned." "He won't come out," Ji Qingyue said. "I've also informed my family. There will be high-level martial artists coming later. This time, they must be at the peak of the astral form." "Doesn't Jiang Chongkong cultivate the sun-star power? Why is it related to this?" Anshanhe asked in confusion. "Also, why are there 6 golden dragons in Jiang Chongkong's body?" "The sun-star power is only one of Jiang Chongkong's martial arts," a genius said in horror. "He's strong enough to capture people's souls, and he knows Yun Bugui's 9 skies and 9 clouds technique. He even killed a few star embryo martial artists." "What?" The two's expressions changed. "What happened in the Sin realm?" "Jiang Chongkong leveled the Sin realm, not the palace," another martial artist said with a trembling voice. The two were speechless. Jiang Chongkong leveled the Sin realm? And killed a few star embryo martial artists? They were confused, and they could not accept it. Rumble! An intense tremor came from below. And Shanhe and the others' expressions changed. The first layer of barrier was completely shattered. The star array fell and shattered the barrier, but there was an even stronger barrier. The palace shook violently. Blood qi exploded again, intertwining in the void and forming a new star array. Sky full of stars array. In the Sin realm, Jiang Chongkong withdrew his 30-foot golden body. 6 power patterns coiled around him. He looked at the Blood Qi Palace with a serious expression. He remembered the image of the sky full of stars array. The 3 palaces had countless star arrays that covered the starry sky. If this palace was intact, it could probably destroy Earth. But now, this palace was broken. Only 3 layers were left. Everything above 3 layers had been forcefully cut off. Jiang Chongkong held the tricolored stone bead in his hand and walked toward the Blood Qi Palace. The star power in his body was hidden, and only the dense blood qi and power patterns were on his body. A monstrous blood qi appeared behind him, and the essence qi rose above his head. Roar! A strange roar came from the Blood Qi Palace again, shaking countless blood qi and activating the star array. Chapter 254. In his memory, the palace had a total of 9 floors. The monstrous blood energy that was released obscured the specific appearance. He could only see a rough outline. The same was true for the power of the moon and sun stars. Jiang Chongkong arrived in front of the palace. The palace's door had been destroyed, and the surrounding walls had large holes. The exterior was blood-colored and full of blood energy. The dilapidated walls were engraved with human figures. These human figures all had the same power pattern as him. Some of these power patterns formed dragon heads, while others formed snake heads. His gaze passed through the door. It was empty inside. There was nothing but floating blood energy. Jiang Chongkong took a deep breath and walked in. As he stepped into the blood energy palace, blood energy patterns appeared on the floor under his feet. This place was filled with star arrays. In other words, this place was full of killing intent. Without sufficient strength and the tricolored stone bead, anyone who came would probably die. But now, he didn't know how powerful this palace was, and he didn't dare to use the tricolored stone bead to test it. At the end of his vision, there was a staircase leading to the 2nd floor. He wasn't in a hurry to go up. His gaze swept across the walls, which were engraved with star texts and human figures. Below the immortal realm, the ultimate strength shattering the void? Jiang Chongkong stared at one of the star runes with a grave expression. There were many star texts, densely packed, almost occupying all the places that didn't have any figures. He, who had learned star texts, noticed that these star texts were written differently. More than one person had been here. Jiang Chongkong knew a lot of star texts now, but it was troublesome to translate them. He didn't know all of them here. After thinking about it, he took out his phone and planned to take a picture. But when he took out his phone, the screen was black. He couldn't open it at all. It's broken? No, the phone has always been in the hidden star ring. It wasn't affected. Jiang Chongkong put away his phone. This palace might have temporarily disabled his phone. It was fine. He still had a notebook and a notebook. Ever since he copied the star texts in the Twisted Land, he had specially prepared some. Opening the notebook, Jiang Chongkong gently wrote. A shocking scene appeared. The stroke he had just written actually disappeared. He could only watch helplessly as it disappeared. He couldn't sense it at all. He didn't sense any energy fluctuations. Roar. The strange roar sounded again. Jiang Chongkong put away his notebook and pen and stepped onto the second floor. Since he couldn't record these star runes, he would go up and see if there was anything good. With the tricolored stone bead, there shouldn't be any danger. He wanted to see how this roar of power marks was released. Could it be that there was still a living person? If there was a living person, there was no way he wouldn't come out unless he was trapped. The staircase was not long. Jiang Chongkong had already reached the second floor after a few leaps. The second floor was no longer empty. Instead, it was filled with small rooms with blood-red doors. The roar of power pattern came from here. Jiang Chongkong came to the nearest room. Looking at the blood-red door, he reached out and pressed on it. Buzz. The door shook and the palm easily passed through it. Is this blood qi? Jiang Chongkong used both hands to pry open a gap and looked inside. A pair of lifeless eyes happened to be staring at him. Their eyes met. Holy shit, he quickly retracted his hands. Jiang Chongkong was a little dumbfounded. There was a person sitting inside and he was still looking at him. No, the eyes are lifeless. Could it be a dead person? Jiang Chongkong pondered. If it was a living person, he should have had a reaction just now. Thinking of this, the roar of power mark stretched out and opened the door of blood qi. This time, he saw the person inside and the situation. The space inside was very narrow, only 4 feet wide, and it was all blood-red. A man was sitting against the blood-red wall. His eyes were naturally open, and he was looking at the blood door. He wore a green ancient robe and his face was young. His skin was like jade and his hands were slender. In front of him, there was a broken sword. It's really a dead person. Jiang Chongkong didn't feel the slightest bit of vitality from the man. The surroundings were covered by blood qi. Jiang Chongkong relied on the tricolored stone bead and walked in. He reached out and scanned the surroundings. Other than the man's back leaning against the real wall, there was blood qi gathering on both sides. The roar of power mark swept the ground, but there was nothing. This corpse actually has no essence. Jiang Chongkong touched the corpse and found that it was still warm. Traces of blood qi kept entering the corpse, nourishing his body. No wonder there's no essence. It's all being maintained by blood qi. Jiang Chongkong pinched the finger of the young man, and a solemn expression appeared on his face. So hard? He used 70% of his strength on the corpse's finger, but he couldn't move it at all. After thinking about it, 6 roar of power marks vibrated at the same time. He used all his strength, pure strength. There was still no reaction from the finger. It was still like jade, and there was no trace of it. How strong did this guy train his body when he was alive? Jiang Chongkong was shocked. He looked at the broken sword again. The broken sword had already decayed, and the essence inside had been lost. It was worthless. He searched the corpse again, but he didn't find any spatial equipment. Roar. The strange roar came again, and Jiang Chongkong hurriedly left the blood-red room. Following the roar, Jiang Chongkong came to the front of a blood door. Jiang Chongkong carefully opened it this time. This time, it was the man in the ancient robe who was sitting cross-legged. His head was lowered and he wasn't angry. However, his body was moving and the roar came from his body. After thinking about it, Jiang Chongkong's roar of power mark vibrated, and he let out a roar. Roar! Roar! 2 roar of power marks rang out at the same time. The man sitting cross-legged still had his head lowered, and there was no movement. The sound came from his body. All right, I can't win against you. Jiang Chongkong's roar of power mark was directly covered. He walked in directly. Jiang Chongkong reached out to touch the corpse. There was no need to try, and he definitely wouldn't be able to break the defense. However, he didn't want to break the defense either. He wanted to see how far this guy had reached in the path of body refinement. He grabbed the ancient robe and exerted force, but it didn't move at all. He used all his strength, but it still didn't move. This was awkward. He was in the late stage, star embryo stage, and he couldn't do anything to a piece of clothing? He tried to move the corpse, but he still couldn't move it. The roar of power mark also became quiet. Jiang Chongkong didn't dare to act recklessly anymore. He squatted down and looked at the person's face. It's him. Jiang Chongkong's expression changed, and he retreated slowly. In the image, it was that extremely powerful martial artist. His strength was extremely powerful, and he had crossed the sun and moon with a single step. However, he was now a corpse. Back then, he had resisted the devouring of the starry sky with the 3 palaces. Thinking of this, Jiang Chongkong felt a lot more comforted. He didn't know how strong this person was, but he was a top-notch martial artist. It was normal that he couldn't move him. Moreover, from the looks of it, he was still a body refinement martial artist. He naturally wouldn't be able to move him with pure strength. As he retreated, the blood and qi on the ground dissipated. Jiang Chongkong's gaze froze. There were star runes engraved on the ground. He swept away the blood and qi, and a few planet runes appeared. Jiang Chongkong frowned and translated seriously. Pursuing immortal and god fortuitous encounters, paying respects to the battle palace, and encountered a great calamity. Fortunately, the battle palace collected the corpse. Battle palace? What's going on with this person? He's dead, but the power mark is still alive. Jiang Chongkong's expression was solemn. Pursuing immortal and god fortuitous encounters. Had this person become an immortal or not? Was this palace helping to collect the corpse? Jiang Chongkong continued to watch, and he felt a headache. Why did these people learn star runes? Why didn't they come to Earth to study and learn Chinese? Translation was really troublesome. However, if it was really Chinese, then it would be too shocking. Those who left their names in the battle palace collected the corpse. Those who obtained the divine pearls of our 3 palaces attracted 3 lights, and obtained the fragment of the immortal scripture. Chapter 255. Attracting the tricolored stone bead? Jiang Chongkong looked at the tricolored stone bead in his hand. Wasn't this enough? Should he lure the tricolored light out? He didn't think that he had to be a tri-elemental cultivator. If that was the case, he would have to be worshipped when he came in. Jiang Chongkong pondered for a while and infused pure blood energy into the tricolored stone bead. Buzz! The tricolored stone bead shook violently and mysterious star runes appeared on the floor. The surrounding blood energy surged into the tricolored stone bead. The blood energy and power patterns in Jiang Chongkong's body were being absorbed by the tricolored stone bead. Damn it, shouldn't I have lured the tricolored light out? You've lured me out. Jiang Chongkong cursed and hurriedly left the room, activating his 3-foot golden body. Fortunately, the space outside was not small and could barely accommodate him. The tricolored stone bead continued to absorb the blood energy in the surroundings, as well as Jiang Chongkong's blood energy and power. The tricolored stone bead absorbed the surrounding blood energy, as well as Jiang Chongkong's blood energy and power. Jiang Changkong's 3-foot golden body was shrinking at a visible speed and his body was shriveling. It won't suck me dry, right? A trace of fear appeared in Jiang Changkong's heart. He wanted to let go of the stone bead, but it stuck to him. 2 feet. 3 feet. In just a few breaths, Jiang Changkong was only 3 feet tall and his body was skin and bones. But even so, the tricolored stone bead was still absorbing. He had been tricked by this guy. Jiang Changkong cursed in his heart, but there was nothing he could do. He could only let the tricolored stone bead absorb. It was only when his body returned to normal that the suction began to slow down. Jiang Changkong was already lying on the ground. A weak suction came, draining his last bit of power. This damn thing finally stopped. Jiang Changkong lay on the ground without any strength to move. He couldn't feel the power patterns or the existence of his body. He didn't dare to use the God-governing art and could only lie there. Buzz. The tricolored stone bead vibrated and shone brightly. The blood energy in the surroundings surged and strangely arranged themselves, forming ancient star characters that poured into Jiang Changkong's mind. A large amount of blood energy seemed to have come to life as it surged over and wrapped around him. His shriveled body swelled up like a balloon. Jiang Changkong's eyes widened. He discovered that his strength was recovering, and his perception of his body was also gradually recovering. Regaining control of his body, he felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. Unfortunately, this blood qi could only help him recover, not grow. Next, the blood qi that rushed into his mind took the form of ancient star symbols, and some of the blood qi carved out countless star formations in his mind. Was this a remnant chapter of an immortal scripture? Looking at his own data, there was indeed a change. Jiang Changkong, late-stage star embryo, high-tier lower-grade martial art, 3-foot golden body, Deshang 1/1800000 Tai Chi Yin Yang art, Deshang 1/1800000 blade, Deshang 1/1800000 Holy Sun art, Deshang 1/1800000 God Reigning art, Deshang 1/1800000 Bright Moon art, Deshang 1/1800000 White Cloud Ninefold Sutra, Deshang 1/1800000 High Tier Lower Grade Array, Battle Body Star Formation, Incomplete Rudimentary 0/50,000 Essence, Energy, Spirit, 4911554 High Tier, Middle Grade, High Grade Star Formation, Incomplete. Not strong enough to practice. Star Formation? High or incomplete? Jiang Changkong's mind was in a mess. These were high, low, middle, and high grade. Did they correspond to the 3 floors of the palace? If that was the case, then the lost 6 levels corresponded to the apex level and the level above the apex. Boom! The palace suddenly shook, and voices came from below. Attention, everyone! This place is very strange. Be careful. Don't touch anything. Watch your step. There are star formations everywhere in this palace. There are star characters on the walls. Let's go and take a look. They're finally here. Jiang Changkong held the tricolor stone bead and didn't rush to go down. He went to the other rooms and found that these corpses didn't have any spatial equipment. Their weapons were either broken, decayed, or missing. He didn't rush to practice the formation. He planned to translate all these star characters after he went back. Now, while there was still time, he would go to the 3rd floor to have a look. As soon as he stepped on the stairs of the 3rd floor, the voices came again. Be careful of the star formation. Everyone, pay attention. This place is strange. It should be left by a body-refining martial artist. The strongest warriors. These star characters were all carved by the strongest warriors, close to God level. Attention, in addition to us, there is also Jiang Changkong here. Jiang Changkong has something to do with this place. He should go up. When Jiang Changkong heard this, he stopped listening and walked to the 3rd floor. Don't go up. An old voice suddenly sounded. It was the ancient star characters. Jiang Changkong's hair stood on end. He turned around in horror. An old man stood quietly behind him. He didn't even notice how he came out. He had just seen this person. He was one of those corpses. Are you a human or a ghost? Jiang Changkong's heart was cold. The strangeness of this place was far beyond his imagination. In the battle palace, each person takes one thing. You have already taken it. If you take another, you will be left behind. The old man turned a deaf ear to his question and said expressionlessly, Senior, what kind of palace is this battle palace? Is it really left by an immortal god? Jiang Changkong changed his attitude and asked respectfully, What kind of immortal god's opportunity was this? He only got the formation Dao, and all the star formation was the battle body. The old man didn't have the slightest change in expression and continued, Each person takes one thing. Bear the consequences. Inform the others. After that, the old man disappeared. Not even his shadow could be seen. Jiang Changkong looked at the third floor but didn't go up. He began to go down. This place was too strange. The dead actually came out to talk to him. If they were ordinary people, it would be fine. But these corpses were extremely terrifying experts when they were alive. Walking down the stairs, a group of people appeared in his sight in the hall. After counting, there were a total of 23 people. Jiang Changkong couldn't see through any of them. All of them were astral bodies, and some were above astral bodies. When Jiang Changkong appeared, the eyes of the group gathered on him. Jiang Changkong. Hello, everyone. What did you see? Jiang Changkong walked over. Wait, don't come over. Why didn't they attack you? A middle-aged man said in a deep voice. The others also looked at him with vigilance. Because I am also a body-tempering martial artist. 6 force patterns appeared around Jiang Changkong's body. This is called a force pattern. The human-shaped pattern on the palace is the same as mine, a force pattern. When the body tempering reaches a certain level and is strong enough, a force pattern will be formed. Force pattern? Many martial artists were shocked. Some of them suddenly said, I see. I have seen it in some star texts. Legend has it that extremely strong body-tempering martial artists can explode stars with one punch and grab the sun and moon with their palms. A man glowing with red light said, I am Yao Chan's fifth uncle, Yao Qing of the Alcade Chamber of Commerce. I am at the peak of the astral body. You went up and looked. What is inside? There is a pile of corpses of experts inside. One of the corpses told me that each person can only take one item here. Otherwise, they will stay here. Jiang Changkong didn't hide anything. He informed them, this is called the Battle Palace. Legend has it that the immortal god's opportunity is hidden here. I don't know the details. Everyone looked at each other. What did you take? Star Array. If you want it, you can find it yourself, Jiang Changkong said lightly. But remember, you can only take one item. Haha, kid, who are you trying to fool? Did the corpse tell you that? A martial artist sneered and said, Call the corpse out if you can. It's up to you whether you believe it or not, Jiang Changkong said lightly. Yao Qing said, I believe you. Let's take a look at these star texts first. I will introduce some friends to you. This is Yan Qingyue's mother, Yan Shi. This is Nan Zhaokong of the Nan family. Hello, brother Jiang. The two nodded slightly in greeting. Jiang Changkong responded to them one by one. He just stood at the side and didn't move. Come over. If we really fight, this place can't stop us, a martial artist said. This place only restricts those below the peak of the astral body. Jiang Changkong thought for a moment and walked over. Chapter 256. Those who could come to the battle palace were basically peak astral bodies. Those below peak were forbidden by the Federation. Yao Qing's group surrounded 2 middle-aged people, a man and a woman. The man was called Lin Feng. He had short hair and a cold expression. The woman was Hua Qinglan. Her face was covered by a veil. She was dressed in blue. Both of them were from the Federation. Jiang Chongkong made a bold guess. These two were probably star-level martial artists. What is written in these star texts? I just learned the star text and am not very familiar with it, Jiang Chongkong said. Yao Qing pointed at a star text. These were left behind by the strongest near gods. Near gods? Jiang Chongkong asked curiously. What realm are these martial artists? The top above the star level are Star Path, Star Sage, and Near Gods. We like to call them Near Gods. Yao Qing explained. Near Gods are the strongest martial artists in the Federation and the people closest to gods. According to the star texts, Near Gods are infinitely close to the legendary immortals. Infinitely close to the legendary immortals? Wasn't that a living god? Jiang Chongkong muttered in his heart. Then what is written in these star texts? They are all near gods who came here to search for immortals and gods, and to leave their names. One must be near gods to leave their names. We've all tried, but we can't. Yao Qing looked slightly excited. So many near gods have come here. There must be great opportunities here. I haven't seen great opportunities, but I've seen great terror. Only near gods can leave their names, and only after leaving their names will they collect their corpses. Jiang Chongkong felt a chill on his back. The second floor above was filled with near gods. He counted about 100 of them. If they ran out, they wouldn't just flatten Sin Realm, but Earth. Can I leave first? Jiang Chongkong's face twitched. He didn't dare to think further. No. Lin Feng's expression was cold. You're the only one who has been here before. I need your experience later. Experience my ass. Experience my ass. Do you want it? Jiang Chongkong rolled his eyes and didn't say anything else. He just watched them study the star text. These near gods all took something from the war palace and then left. Yao Qing looked at the star text and said excitedly, "These are all extraterrestrial powerhouses. This proves once again that other than the star demon, there are other life forms in the extraterrestrial world." Can't it be from ancient Earth? Jiang Chongkong muttered. It was hard to say. He had 3 palaces, a laurel tree, and a golden crow. What if they were really ancient people from Earth? Yao Qing's expression froze. I can't rule out that possibility. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see him. What a pity. You won't regret it. As long as you go up to the second floor, they'll all be seated, and you can look as much as you want. Jiang Chongkong thought to himself. Those who leave their names seek the immortal god's fortuitous encounter and leave behind their martial arts. Yao Qing continued. Martial arts? 23 people became excited at the same time. Jiang Chongkong wasn't excited at all. He only felt regret. Why couldn't he learn the star text right away? A near god's martial art was much more valuable than the star formation map he obtained. What celestial scriptures? They were all lies. Apart from the star text, there's nothing else valuable here. Let's go up, Lin Feng said. Okay, it's empty here. There's nothing else. The other martial artists looked up. A near god's martial art. It had to be up there. An immortal god's fortuitous encounter plus a near god's martial art. If this got out, it would definitely make the entire Federation go crazy. Jiang Chongkong didn't say anything and followed them up again. Anyway, he wasn't going to take anything and just look around. There shouldn't be a problem. Moreover, these people wouldn't let him leave so easily. The group went up to the second floor and looked at the blood-colored rooms. None of them moved easily. Lin Feng looked at him. Jiang Chongkong, you've been here before. Tell us. Yao Qing and the others also looked at him, waiting for him to speak. These blood doors are all formed by blood energy. There are more than 100 of them, and they're all corpses, Jiang Chongkong said lightly. A cold smile appeared in Lin Feng's eyes. Corpses? Where are the treasures? Treasures? There are no treasures, Jiang Chongkong said lightly. You took it yourself, right? A middle-aged man sneered. His strength forced back the surrounding blood energy. Although this blood chi palace was strange, it was nothing in the face of this group of peak astral bodies, or even stronger martial artists. Jiang Chongkong smiled slightly. I said before, I can only take one thing from here. I've already taken a star formation. I can't take anything else. What a joke. How many can you take? That's just your mouth, the middle-aged man said coldly. How should I address you, big brother? Jiang Chongkong cupped his hands politely. What, you want to remember me and find trouble with me when you have the strength? The middle-aged man scoffed. Remember, Xing Jin Hansheng. Big brother, you misunderstand. I'm not looking for trouble with you, Jiang Chongkong said with a smile. I want to exterminate your entire family. You, enough. Yao Qing snorted, interrupting Jin Hansheng. Chongkong is an ally of our three families. If you want to touch him, you have to ask us first. Hua Qinglan said lightly. All right, I believe Chongkong's words. Moreover, Chongkong just came here. Please introduce us. Jin Hansheng's gaze turned cold, and he glared at Jiang Chongkong, withdrawing his killing intent. I'll let you off for now. Jiang Chongkong opened and closed his eyes, ignoring him. He was an old enemy of Xing Jin. He was present, or even the only high-level martial artist in the entire Federation who refined his body. Here, he received preferential treatment. These people did not dare to kill him easily. Plus, with the relationship between the three families, he was not afraid of Jin Hansheng. I said, they're all corpses. Moreover, every room is like this. You guys go see for yourselves. Jiang Chongkong said. He paused and then said, they're all the corpses of seniors. I feel that you guys should pay your respects. It's not strange to be too polite. Lin Feng's gaze moved slightly, and he glanced at Jin Hansheng. Jin Hansheng's expression turned cold and he shouted, playing tricks. You go in first. Jiang Chongkong shrugged and directly walked over. He first cupped his hands and bowed. I have no choice but to disturb you again. Please forgive me, senior. Seeing the corpses that popped out, Jiang Chongkong did not dare to act recklessly again. Like he said, it's not strange to be too polite. He would pay his respects first. After paying his respects, Jiang Chongkong entered the blood energy door. The corpses sat cross-legged inside, and then he retreated. There was no tricolored stone bead, and this place did not make things difficult for him. He did not know if it was because of the greetings. Jiang Chongkong walked out. It's fine. I'll continue paying my respects. I forgot about it before. Finishing, he paid his respects to the other doors. Yao Qing, Qi Shi, and Nanshawking also followed and paid their respects. Hua Qinglan moved forward and also paid her respects. Only then did she enter and examine the corpses. Seeing that they were all fine, the others also followed in. Some people followed and paid their respects, and some did not. After paying his respects, Jiang Chongkong looked at these people. Hua Qinglan, Yao Qing, and the others paid their respects very seriously, and it was not just once. They paid their respects outside the door, and after entering, they paid their respects again. With this comparison, Jiang Chongkong discovered that he was not as respectful as these corpses that were close to God. Just as he was hesitating whether or not to pay his respects again, something unexpected happened. The middle-aged woman's corpse that Hua Qinglan paid her respects shone with a dark green light, directly entering her forehead. Hua Qinglan's body shook, and her eyes shone with a green light as she heavily kowtowed. Chapter 257. Thump thump thump. The sound was clear and audible. Jiang Chongkong felt pain for her. Thank you for the inheritance, senior. I will not let you down, Hua Qinglan said with a hint of excitement, her voice crisp and melodious. Jiang Chongkong, I'm the one who got the tricolored stone pearl. Why did Hua Qinglan get the inheritance? It was because of what I said that she worshipped me. Thank you for the inheritance, senior. It's actually a Sun Star Force martial art. My Nan family has another top martial art, Nan Zhaokong said excitedly. Thank you, Senior. My Nan family. Thank you, Senior. My Alcade Merchant Group, Jiang Chongkong. What the F***CK? Top-notch martial arts? The Immortal Sutra was replaced with a high-tier star array. There were also 3 high-level martial artists who received the inheritance through the worship. You all received the inheritance? Lin Feng and the others had ugly expressions. They did not worship. There were also some insincere martial artists who worshipped perfunctorily. They were worse than Jiang Chongkong and did not receive the inheritance. Thank you, Chongkong. So you were purposely reminding us to receive the inheritance. Hua Qinglan slowly stood up and bowed to him very solemnly. Thank you, Chongkong. We actually did not understand Chongkong's painstaking efforts just now. Yao Qing and the others also bowed. Thank you, Chongkong. The other 3 who received the inheritance all bowed and thanked. The corner of Jiang Chongkong's mouth twitched. He said through gritted teeth, You're welcome. Can I say that I didn't know it all? The tricolored stone pearl did not say this. If it did, I would have come in and worshipped dozens of times and received the inheritance. The expressions of Lin Feng, Jin Hanxing, and the others became more and more ugly, but they still maintained their calm. Lin Feng forced out a smile. I wonder what level the top martial art Qinglan received has reached? Hua Qinglan smiled slightly. It was unknown whether it was intentional or not. Of course it's close to God, as well as Senior's cultivation comprehension and experience. Jiang Chongkong glanced at Hua Qinglan and saw the corner of her jade-like lips curled up under the light veil. This was intentional to provoke Lin Feng. Sure enough, Lin Feng's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, squeezing out a smile uglier than crying. Congratulations. Dong dong. The sound of kowtowing resounded. The cultivators who did not obtain the inheritance started to pay their respects again. Jiang Chongkong glanced over and saw that Jin Hanxing was among them. He said indifferently, What's the point of paying respects now? You are not sincere enough. You little brat, what do you know? This is just a dead person. There must be some kind of restriction. As long as he kowtowed and had the correct posture, he would receive the inheritance. Sincerity? Dead people can feel sincerity? Jin Hanxing sneered and continued to kowtow. When the other cultivators who had not been sent out heard this, they felt that it made sense and started kowtowing as well. Jiang Chongkong curled his lips and smiled, but he was muttering in his heart, It seems to make sense. However, it was fine if he was really dead, but the key thing was that he could come back to life. Moreover, he had already obtained the inheritance of the array diagram, so it was unlikely that he would be able to obtain the inheritance of these people. Hua Qinglan's crisp voice was heard. You said that you could only take one thing. The corpse told you that. Which senior's corpse? That one. Jiang Chongkong pointed at a bloody door in the distance. Hua Qinglan walked over, and the others also gathered around. Jiang Chongkong admired them. They were a bunch of idiots and daring. Hua Qinglan paid her respects and swept away the blood energy. There were no star symbols on the ground. She asked in confusion, Chongkong, there are no star symbols here. What did he tell you? He stood up and told me with his mouth, Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. The cultivators were frightened and hurriedly retreated. Hua Qinglan also hurriedly left the small room, but her eyes were fixed on the old man's corpse. There was no change. This kid is scaring us. When we came in just now, I searched these corpses. Jin Hanxing sneered. If they could really stand up and talk, why would they let us search them? That's right. I searched them too, Lin Feng said. This kid is full of nonsense. Jin Hanxing sneered. A beam of star power flew out and landed on the corpse. The corpse did not react. The star power did not even tear the corpse's clothes. See? This is a corpse. It can stand up and talk to you. Are you hallucinating? Jin Hanxing sneered. Jiang Chongkong said sarcastically, You're not kowtowing anymore? You, shut up. It's you who can't get the inheritance. You're making things difficult for Changkong. What kind of ability is that? Hua Qinglan snorted, her eyes glowing with green light. Jin Hanxing did not dare to speak anymore. He snorted and retreated to the side. Let's go. There's nothing here. We'll go higher, Lin Feng said. I've never been to the 3rd level, Jiang Changkong said. Lin Feng said coldly, lead the way. If you don't have the guts, then don't go up. After getting the inheritance, Hua Qinglan spoke up for Jiang Changkong. Just now, when Jiang Changkong said to pay homage, they followed to pay homage to get the inheritance. Yao Qing and the other two said calmly. Changkong said that he will only take one item. We've already gotten it. We don't want to go up. Lin Feng's expression darkened. You guys dare to talk to me like this? Yao Qing sneered. We respected you before because we gave face to the Federation. Without the Federation, you are nothing in front of the 3 of us. There were top martial artists from the 3 families. They were really not afraid of Lin Feng. Not to mention, Hua Qinglan was still standing beside Jiang Changkong. A hint of anger flashed across Lin Feng's face, but he forcefully suppressed it and did not explode. Aren't you curious about what's in the 3rd level? I'm really not curious. We've already gotten something. No matter how good it is, we can't take it anymore, Hua Qinglan said calmly. Jiang Changkong was actually curious in his heart. But that old thing already came out and said that unless he had no other choice, he definitely would not go up. Go up together. Otherwise, we'll fight. Lin Feng's gaze turned cold. Hua Qinglan's eyes flickered. Then you try. Let's go up. Jin Hanxing and the others spoke at the same time. There were a total of 23 people. 7 of them obtained the legacy and did not want to go up. The remaining 16 people would not get anything if they did not agree now. Why don't we go up? Yao Qing said in a low voice. They have many people. If we fight, we won't be their match. Hua Qinglan frowned and looked at Jiang Changkong. Let's go up. We won't touch anything. No matter how good it is, we won't take it. There shouldn't be any danger. It was impossible to start a fight now. Jiang Changkong's side definitely could not beat them. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Changkong said, Let me first ask if these seniors agree or not. After saying that, Jiang Changkong bowed one by one. Seniors, I have no choice but to go up and take a look. I definitely won't take a second item. If you don't speak, I'll take it as you agree. Everyone looked at him with cold expressions and did not speak. Lin Feng and the others' eyes were filled with cold light, faintly revealing killing intent. Hua Qinglan and the others also bowed and repeated Jiang Changkong's words. The corpses did not react. Jiang Changkong heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go up together. Only then did the group step up the stairs to the 3rd level. This time, the corpses did not come out. It was unknown if they had listened to his words and agreed. Boom. The moment they stepped into the 3rd level, a tyrannical blood qi spread out. Lin Feng and Hua Qinglan, who were walking at the front, trembled at the same time. The others directly vomited a mouthful of blood. Their expressions were dispirited as they staggered back. Jiang Changkong also felt extremely strong pressure. Chapter 258. Roar. A strange roar resounded and 6 energy patterns appeared. The power of the star array on the 3rd level was too terrifying. These peak stars were all heavily injured. Although Lin Feng and Hua Qinglan weren't injured, their strength was greatly suppressed. Pay attention, the star array here has reached the star level. Lin Feng shouted and waved his hand. A golden barrier appeared and covered everyone. With the golden barrier protecting everyone, the pressure dissipated. They circulated their star power and healed their injuries. Jiang Changkong used his invincible Vajra body, and his injuries healed in an instant. Let's go. Lin Feng brought along the barrier and led everyone into the 3rd floor. Thick blood energy circled around the 3rd level, blocking everyone's sight. Jiang Changkong could only see 3 meters away. The group entered the third level and Lin Feng threw out a few golden stones. The golden stones flew out and emitted golden star power, forming a star array and dispersing the blood energy. Buzz! The third level shook violently. The blood energy on the floor collided with the golden star power, trying to destroy it. This is a pinnacle star formation. How much power does this dilapidated palace have left? Lin Feng sneered and looked around. Jiang Chongkong was also looking at the third level. It was a wide space with hundreds of stone platforms. There were stone boxes on the stone platforms. Around the stone platforms were engraved ancient star characters. Near divinity martial arts. These are all near divinity martial arts. Lin Feng said excitedly. Ha ha ha, so many near divinity martial arts. We're rich. Jin Hanxing laughed and pounced on the stone platform. You can only take one item, Jiang Chongkong said faintly. Kid, shut up now. Do you want to take everything after we leave? Jin Hanxing sneered. I'm telling you, we want everything here. Lin Feng smiled and said proudly, this palace is seriously damaged. If it was complete, I would be afraid. But now it's at most a peak star level. With this barrier, we can suppress this place. As long as you're happy. Jiang Chongkong didn't say anything. He couldn't stop people who wanted to die. Chongkong, is what you said true? Yao Qing pulled him and whispered. Hua Qinglan and the other two also looked at him. Jiang Chongkong nodded. If they're fine, I'll tear this place down. If Lin Feng and the others didn't die, then it proved that the reanimated corpses were just scaring him. He would definitely tear down this palace. Mine, it's all mine. One by one, the martial artists frantically rushed towards the stone platform, grabbing the stone box in their hand. This stone box doesn't have any restrictive spells on it, so it can be easily opened, Jin Hanxing said excitedly. Metal-type martial arts, near deity level, everything is complete. I've found a martial art of the same attribute. It's close to divinity, another martial artist said excitedly. Why don't we run away while they're going crazy? Jiang Chongkong suggested. Let's go. Hua Qinglan grabbed him and was about to leave. Lin Feng had already gone crazy. After taking one stone box, he went to take a second one. He was not satisfied at all. It was the same for Jin Hanxing and the others. They dared to take whatever they had. Haha. I'm going to create the number one power, and when that time comes, I'll have hundreds of people close to God. Starry Sky Expedition. When the time comes, we'll enter the starry sky and dominate the galaxy. Listening to these crazy words, Jiang Chongkong and the others could only pray that they wouldn't die too quickly later. However, just as they turned around, their bodies stiffened at the same time. At the entrance of the third floor, an old figure had appeared out of nowhere. His lifeless eyes were watching everything. Senior, we didn't take a second one. Jiang Chongkong and the others swallowed their saliva and subconsciously retreated. The old man was expressionless. His lifeless eyes shone on the crazy Lin Feng and the others. The 16 people who were still dreaming did not know that danger had already arrived. Ha-ha, bang! The laughter stopped abruptly. A pinnacle astral body silently exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. The blood mist ignored the barrier and merged into the endless blood chi. What's going on? Lin Feng and the others hurriedly turned around and saw the old man at the entrance. They retreated in fear. The reanimated corpses. The old man looked at Jiang Chongkong and the others. All of you, retreat behind me. Hua Qinglan's expression changed. Majestic astral power surged, and a dark green star appeared behind her, protecting Jiang Chongkong and the others. Boom! With a glance, the star split open. Hua Qinglan's body shook, and blood splashed from her mouth. The old man's eyes were still lifeless. He turned his gaze to another pinnacle astral body. Bang! The pinnacle astral body exploded and turned into a blood mist. It ignored the barrier and merged into the blood chi. Hua Qinglan, are you okay? Jiang Chongkong supported Hua Qinglan and infused his Tai Chi astral power into her to help her heal. I'm fine. Hua Qinglan's body glowed with a dark green light. Her injuries instantly healed, and the star behind her also recovered. This thing is strange. We can't fight it head-on. Everyone gather together. Come over, Lin Feng shouted. More than 10 martial artists hurriedly gathered in front of Lin Feng. Jiang Chongkong, what is this thing? Jin Hansheng shouted. Shut the F***ck up. This isn't my house. I told you to take one thing and leave. There's something wrong with the corpse. You just won't listen. Jiang Chongkong roared. If not for the fact that he couldn't beat this group of people, he would definitely kill them. A bunch of B** stars. He didn't build this place. Lin Feng's expression was cold. Shut up, Jiang Chongkong sneered. Shut up. Didn't you say you can suppress it? Come, suppress one and let me see. Lin Feng. He really couldn't suppress this situation. In a blink, the pinnacle of the astral body exploded and Hua Qinglan was injured. He was on par with Hua Qinglan. What could he use to suppress it? Hua Qinglan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. This thing's attack is too strange. It can't be seen, and there are no fluctuations of astral power. Be careful. You and I should be able to take it down together. Can't see? Jiang Chongkong frowned. Could it be that this old guy also knew something like the mind-controlling art? But this was a corpse. Then let's do it. Finish it quickly. Lin Feng shouted. Kill. The two astral warriors attacked at the same time. Terrifying astral power exploded and engulfed the old man. Jiang Chongkong, Yao Qing, and the others quickly retreated. They activated the mind-controlling art and swept out. Invisible astral power spread out. Everything around them appeared in their mind. In the air, an invisible force was rushing towards the two of them. Then there was a tearing pain. Even their souls were shaking. They didn't dare to be careless. They hurriedly shouted, Hua Qinglan, your throat. Hua Qinglan's expression froze. Astral power protected his throat. Boom. The astral power shook. Hua Qinglan flew back. This time she was prepared and wasn't injured. Lin Feng's figure flashed and accurately chopped the old man's neck. Clang. Crack. The long sword broke. The violent astral power fell. The old man didn't move. Lin Feng's expression was shocked. He hurriedly flew back. Jiang Chongkong rubbed his forehead. It still hurt. Seeing Lin Feng's sword break, he felt a bit hopeless. Can't you take out a better weapon? You're an astral warrior. Is there something wrong with you? The other warriors were also hopeless. Lin Feng, an astral warrior, couldn't break the old man's defense with his full strength? How is this possible? Lin Feng still couldn't believe it. His lower grade 9 long sword broke just like that? I've seen the astral text. The battle palace will collect the corpses of those who left their names. Those corpses were close to gods when they were alive. Also, they could be close to gods. Everyone. The kind that could explode stars with one punch? Chapter 259. He was close to a god and could explode a star with one punch. He was also close to a god in body refinement. Not to mention a low-grade Tier 9 sword, even a top-grade one could not break his defense. Be careful, Lin Feng, your chest, Jiang Chongkong shouted hurriedly. Lin Feng could not die now. He was the main combat power to stop the old man. A star appeared on Lin Feng's chest to protect him. Boom. Poochie. Blood sprayed out. Lin Feng flew back and crashed into a few peak astral body martial artists. Hua Qinglan's expression darkened. A basketball-sized dark green star appeared. Buzz. The basketball-sized dark green star did not even break the old man's clothes. It was like a small flame, extinguishing after a flash. We can wait to die. Hua Qinglan took 2 steps back, despair in his eyes. A full-power attack could not break his defense. The other astral body martial artists were in complete despair. The astral body martial artists' weapons were broken. A full-power attack could not break his defense. What could they use to fight? Yao Qing suddenly said, "How did this corpse move? Is there a way to break it from the inside?" Hu Qinglan's eyes lit up. Star power surged in his palm, and the star appeared again. "Chongkong, help me keep an eye on it." Jiang Chongkong had a splitting headache. Hearing Yao Qing's words, he could not help but be tempted. Would his god-controlling art work? If not, there was still the tyrant blade. It could hurt people invisibly and attack from the inside. Thinking of this, Jiang Chongkong looked around again. He felt an invisible power and pushed Yao Qing away. Boom! The invisible power passed through where Yao Qing had been standing and hit the stone platform behind him. The stone platform did not move at all and was not damaged. "Everyone, hide behind the stone platform." Yao Qing saw this and shouted. Although this old man had a near-divine body, his attack power was only stronger than Hu Qinglan and Lin Feng. It was still within the astral body level. The martial artists quickly hid. At this time, Hu Qinglan's attack had already landed. Boom! The old man's body shook. An extremely strong force exploded, and Hu Qinglan flew out again. No, he has a majestic blood energy in his body. It should be activated by a star array. Hu Qinglan stood up and hid behind a stone platform. Star formation? Jiang Chongkong narrowed his eyes. The soul-reigning art had already arrived in front of the old man, and the astral power directly drilled into the old man's body. Jiang Chongkong clutched his forehead as blood oozed out of his 7 orifices. Blood chi runes appeared in his mind, weaving together. Inside the Stargate, the illusory soul body was very dispirited, becoming faint and unstable. This blood energy could directly harm his soul through the star power of the soul-reigning incantation. "What's wrong with you?" Mao Shi pressed down on Jiang Chongkong's shoulder, and a healing potion appeared in her hand. Soul. Recovery. Medicine. Jiang Chongkong covered his face as blood seeped out. He was in so much pain that he could only make intermittent sounds. She hurriedly took out a black herb. "Here you go. It's at the peak of the 8th step. Is your soul injured?" Jiang Chongkong directly swallowed the medicinal herb. Once the medicinal herb entered his body, it instantly turned into a majestic energy that penetrated Stargate and flowed into his soul-spirit body. After being replenished, his faint soul immediately stabilized and then soared like a balloon. Jiang Chongkong had a headache again. This time, it wasn't because he was injured, but because he was too full. Countless star arrays appeared in his mind, and he compared them with the ones he had detected. An extreme sense of danger struck. Jiang Chongkong's heart sank. He didn't dare to delay any longer. The soul-reigning incantation carried the majestic star power and rushed into the old man's body, changing the route of the star array. Buzz! The route of the star array changed, the sense of danger disappeared, and the invisible force suddenly dissipated. "Phew, it's all right." Jiang Chongkong heaved a sigh of relief. "It's all right?" Mao Shi looked outside, and her expression suddenly changed. "There's a movement." "What?" Everyone hurriedly looked over. The old man raised his palm, and a terrifying blood energy gathered. A star array appeared in Jiang Chongkong's mind, and at the same time, there were corresponding star texts. He was lucky that he could recognize most of them, and it wasn't an attack. "They should imprison us, not kill us." "Imprison?" Mao Shi was slightly stunned. "You know about it?" Boom! In an instant, a monstrous blood energy filled the entire 3rd level, and Lin Feng's top star barrier also shattered. Endless blood energy wrapped around them, and a terrifying pressure hit them. Jiang Chongkong directly lay on the ground. The other martial artists weren't much better off. They all sat cross-legged and operated their star power to resist the blood energy and pressure around them. And the old man's figure also disappeared. Jiang Chongkong breathed heavily. "We don't have to die for now." "What did you do just now?" Mao Shi propped up an astral power barrier for him. Will you be okay if you use your star power? Don't you feel like your head is being pricked by needles? Jiang Changkong frowned. Mao Shi said, You mean the soul, right? Indeed, a little bit, but you can almost resist it when you reach the peak of the astral form. You're too weak. Just now you used a soul art, right? Such a dense blood energy, it would be strange if it didn't suppress you. This blood energy is so strong that I'm greatly suppressed, and I can't use my combat power. Jiang Changkong. The soul reigning art specialized in cultivating the soul. So, it was also the soul reigning art's fault? You haven't told me yet. What did you do just now? Mao Shi said. I changed the star array inside the body and made it a prison, Jiang Changkong said. You know the star array? Mao Shi was surprised. Jiang Changkong shook his head. I told you that I took the star array, but I don't know much about it. In an emergency, I could only change it to a star array that I know is not dangerous. Then what should we do next? Can you break this array? Mao Shi asked. Jiang Changkong frowned. I can, but do you think we can get out easily? Mao Shi was silent. If they broke the array, the old man would probably come out again. If we break the array, we'll probably be imprisoned again, right? It's not life-threatening. We can try, Lin Feng said. I'm afraid you forgot about the other bodies, Jiang Changkong said. Then, he closed his eyes and began to rest. You needed soul herbs just now. Was your soul injured? I still have some. Mao Shi took out a herb. Top grade 7. Thanks. Jiang Changkong didn't stand on ceremony. He took the herb and operated the soul reigning art in his body to recover his soul. Hua Qinglan and Lin Feng were both injured. They took healing potions and began to heal. They were all high-level warriors. Except for Jiang Changkong, they were all at the peak astral body. They quickly recovered to their peak state. Jin Hanxing glanced at them and said, Now that we're all trapped here, we can either wait for the Union's rescue or save ourselves. The near gods of the Union aren't here. Unless we wait for a few decades, it's even more impossible to save ourselves. There are more than 100 near-god corpses outside, a warrior said with a frown. Hua Qinglan opened her eyes. Her expression was cold. Tell me, what's your plan? It's very simple. Jin Hanxing looked at Jiang Changkong. His martial arts and star array. Then we'll wait for Changkong to wake up, Hua Qinglan said lightly. Jin Hanxing smiled faintly. I think this life-saving thing should be in our own hand. What do you guys think? The warriors looked at each other and said coldly, I think what Jin Hanxing said makes sense. That's right. It's better to know how to save ourselves. Lin Feng looked at Hua Qinglan. Chapter 260. The celestial warriors of the Federation had all gone on an expedition into space. There was no way anyone would come to save them. They didn't think anyone below the celestial warriors had the ability to save them from here. Hua Qinglan's expression was cold. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? If it weren't for Changkong, you'd be dead already. Qi Shi, Yao Qing, and Nanshawking stood up and surrounded Jiang Changkong. You need to have some conscience. If you want to touch him, ask us first. Lin Feng sneered. With just you. Hua Qinglan's expression darkened. She looked at the three. What about you? You got the inheritance, and now you still want to deal with Changkong? The three warriors' expressions were cold. Sorry, we think they're right. Lin Feng stood up straight, his star power surging. He said coldly. Hua Qinglan, you only have 4 people, and we have 17. Hua Qinglan's body shone with green starlight. Lin Feng, you're getting more and more disgusting. If it weren't for Changkong, you'd be dead already. Hua Qinglan, don't pretend to be sanctimonious. I don't believe that you're not tempted by Jiang Changkong's martial arts. Lin Feng sneered. Let's cut the crap. Attack. Kill. Hua Qinglan roared. Green starlight bloomed, but only 1/10 of its power was left. Astral body warriors were even worse off. In a real battle, their star power could only be 3 meters away from their bodies. Attack. Yao Qing and the other two rushed up at the same time. Hua Qinglan alone couldn't stop them. Boom! Star power intertwined. Hua Qinglan, Yao Qing, and the other two flew back at the same time. They crashed into the stone platform, blood spraying everywhere. Ha, this suppression is not bad. We can also hurt astral body warriors. A middle-aged warrior had an excited expression. He stared at Hua Qinglan. You usually ride on our heads and act like a tyrant. Today we'll get back at you all. And these three top forces. Ha, if you all die here today, who will know how you died? Lin Feng said coldly, his killing intent boiling. That's right. The suppressive force here is terrifying. Astral bodies have a chance to slaughter astral bodies. Star embryos can also slaughter astral bodies and astral bodies. A faint voice that was suffused with a trace of coldness resounded out. That's right, wait. Jin Hansheng sneered. He suddenly paused and looked in the direction of the voice. Jiang Chongkong, when did you wake up? Jiang Chongkong laughed coldly as his body glowed with a golden light. I haven't fallen asleep at all. I've been watching you all the time to see what you're doing. That's perfect. Tell us all your martial arts and we can give you a quick death. Lin Feng said indifferently. So many near-godly cultivation techniques, yet you're still unable to satisfy them. Jiang Chongkong let out a soft sigh, and a brilliant golden light blossomed. A bunch of jackals and wolves who don't know how to repay kindness. I can save you, so I can kill you. Chongkong. Hua Qinglan and the other three hurriedly got up. Just as they were about to say something, Jiang Chongkong had already rushed out. Roar. A roar resounded as 6 power patterns manifested. Jiang Chongkong's body expanded, and the power patterns increased exponentially. A berserk aura and vigorous blood chi shook the surroundings. 3-foot golden body. The brilliant golden light was dazzling, and the power patterns attached to his fist. A punch landed. You're courting death. Jin Hansheng snorted coldly, thrusting out with his sword. Boom. The punch landed, blood chi shook, and golden blood dripped down. Jin Hansheng was directly sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His fist was cut open, and golden blood dripped down. Jin Hansheng climbed up, and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. I'm getting more and more interested in your martial arts. It's a pity that you're too weak. I can instantly recover from this injury. Jiang Chongkong, I advise you to cooperate with us. Otherwise, we can completely dismantle you. Lin Feng sneered. You really think you're that near-godly corpse? Even if we're suppressed, you can't compare to us. Jiang Chongkong's wounds quickly healed. Guys, lend me a weapon and help me delay a few people. Low-grade tier 9, it should suit you. Hua Qinglan took out a long blade, it was of the metal attribute. Still want to struggle? Lin Feng said coldly. Today I will definitely kill all of you, I promise. Jiang Chongkong's huge body swayed, the power patterns roared, and he attacked again. Idiot, even if you have a low-grade tier 9 weapon, you can't change the truth. Jin Hansheng attacked again, his long sword vibrating. A dark green long sword appeared in Hua Qinglan's hand, and she blocked Lin Feng and the 3 celestial body martial artists at the same time. The other 3 martial artists blocked the other 3 martial artists. The remaining 10 cultivators all surrounded Jiang Chongkong to kill him. Poochie! The sound of a sharp sword piercing into flesh could be heard. Even the defense of the 3-meter golden body could not block a top-grade tier 8 weapon. But this group of people did not dare to stab the vital parts. They did not dare to kill Jiang Chongkong. Before obtaining the star formation and his martial arts, if Jiang Chongkong died, they could forget about leaving this place alive. Jin Hansheng stabbed his sword into Jiang Chongkong's arm, his expression cold, and was about to retreat. You can't leave, Jiang Chongkong said coldly. 6 power patterns were like golden ropes, trapping Jin Hansheng, and the tier 9 long sword fell. Jin Hansheng smiled disdainfully, his star power shook, and the long sword blocked the long sword. You want to kill me like this? Bang! A silver-white light flashed, and a head flew out. Come, show me how to regenerate broken limbs. Jiang Changkong said coldly, a silver-white long sword glowing with a cold light. Jin Hanxing's head grew out quickly. Another big head flew out, golden blood rolled down, fusing into the blood energy, and some of it splashed on Jiang Changkong's face. Continue, let me see how many heads you have. Poochie. The long sword kept rushing into his body, and there were many more wounds on Jiang Changkong's body, golden blood dripping continuously. Jiang Changkong did not seem to feel anything, and let the long sword tear through his defense and pierce into his body. The silver-white long sword continued to slash, chopping off one head after another. The silver guy swayed, glowing with a cold light. There's something wrong with that sword. A martial artist shouted angrily, and leaped forward, his long sword slashing at Jiang Changkong's right hand that was holding the sword. Roar! The power pattern roared, and the headless Jin Hanxing blocked in front of him. Poochie! The long sword pierced through Jin Hanxing's body, and the martial artist's face turned cold. The power pattern wrapped around the martial artist, and the silver-white light fell again. 2 heads flew up. Jiang Changkong grinned, golden blood gushing out of his mouth. Another one, let me see how many more there are. He's a King lunatic. The martial artists at the back were shocked, and angry. They had lost count of how many times they had stabbed. Although they would not kill Jiang Changkong, wouldn't it hurt? Throw them over, I can suppress the weak ones, Hua Qinglan shouted. Jiang Changkong did not hesitate, and directly threw the 2 over. The golden power pattern turned and rushed towards the other martial artists. Don't hesitate, suppress them directly, just leave them alive, a martial artist shouted angrily. If I don't expose myself, I can only try. Jiang Changkong sighed and put his essence, qi, and spirit on the high-tier low-grade battle body star diagram. Boom! In an instant, thousands of star diagrams floated in his mind, and all kinds of wonders surged into his mind. Roar! The 6 power patterns vibrated, and actually retracted rapidly, wrapping around the surface of Jiang Changkong's body. The terrifying power and dense blood qi shook the surroundings. The surging blood qi in the surroundings crazily poured into Jiang Changkong's body. Roar! Another strange roar came from the 2nd floor of the palace. The corpses that should have been dead once again let out the power pattern roar.